Good evening, folks, and welcome to ESA season number 10. We have got our first round of Swiss here coming up on game number 5 now. So we've had our first week. We're now heading towards the second week, and we have got what's hopefully going to be a banger of a match here. I am joined over here, no, over there, by the wonderful Puffo Bob. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I'm looking real positive. Like you said, it's a Monday evening. We're getting the week started off with some ESA, which is just absolutely lovely. Before you head to sleep, you got to give yourself a bit of a boost for some good dreams. And while these are about to be some fantastic matches, which while we're at them, Travi, who are we going to be looking at today?
Well, today we've got our 5th seeded team versus our 12th seeded team. We've got No Offense Console versus Team Cook here. So you can have a look at the bracket here so far. So before we dive into how we're going to see things out, so let's just have a quick go through of how things have been so far. Now, looking at the top of my screen, you can see that Molotov Team 27 game. You were there for that one. Any comments?
We don't. Let's skip that. Let's skip that.
Skip that one. That we can do. Then we had Ghost Army. Then we had Ghost Army play versus Crown Zero. Then Ghost Army ended up winning that one. We had MG Akatsuki versus Minions. Akatsuki ended up winning that one. And then, of course, we also had Team Sync versus Aspire. So we had a pretty good set of games. I mean, they were all 2-0s. So we've not had a third map yet. We've not been treated to anything like that yet. However, if we're all right to flip over towards predictions, today's game, at least on paper, on predictions, is looking a little bit closer. Of course, as the bracket goes on, we are going to be moving closer towards the teams that are more evenly matched in terms of seeding. We, of course, started off with the first seeded team versus the bottom seeded team. So as we're going on, presumably, the games will get closer. And, well, it's almost 50-50 today.
Yeah, it's close to it. It's cutting it a bit close with a 44 going over towards No Offense. But in the end, I mean, QuQ, I think they've been delivering a bit more of a consistent run throughout ESA in general. We've seen them, all of the casters, all the staff have been quite prominent with them, especially Mighty, especially me, especially everyone that necessarily voted for QuQ. And like I said, it's a strong team. They have been proving many, many times over and over again that they can definitely put up more than just a fight. Now, for No Offense, personally, I don't have any personal experience. So, I'm just going to not give it to chances and hope that QuQ can really cook today.
Really cook and hope to pull it through. Well, let's see how these two teams have fared on map vetoes. Of course, we are playing best of threes today. So, in regards to that, there's potentially 3 maps. As we say, it's been 2-0 so far. Hopefully, we may see our third one coming through here. Clubhouse Consulate Border. Going to be our first set of maps removed here by these teams. Fairly common bans based on the kind of expected pick rate and sort of previous results of these teams. Then we're going to be heading to Cafe for our first map here.
Quite a large boy. We're going to be seeing a lot of window play incorporated, and meanwhile, again, Cafe isn't a team that people like to play. People consider it boring at times, but in the end, I mean, it is a big map. It is quite large. People are going to need to especially try and lurk around those operators, such as the Jackal, the Ram, verticality going to be included most of the time, especially because most sites, that's where you take it. It's a big map. Like Oregon, it has a lot of destructible surfaces, and with it, of course, that's where the operators come in clutch. Following will be Chalet, which is just run-of-the-mill. It has taken over the position of the so-called Oregon, and while everyone knows it, if you don't, why are you even playing? But the final one is Nighthaven if we get to it.
Yeah, Nighthaven Labs. I mean, can we call Nighthaven Labs new still? I don't know if we can call Labs new still.
Recent.
It's recent. We'll go with recent. Now, looking at teams' recent history, this one much heavily favours more the side of No Offense. They're currently 5-2 on this map, but that's Nighthaven Labs. That's long away. First and foremost, we've got Cafe to dive into. And, well, here it comes. Cafe Dostoevsky, map number 1, No Offense versus Team QuQ. Predictions, almost 50-50. Will that transpire in the server? Well, I guess we're going to go and have to wait and see.
Wait and see, we will. Time will tell, and now we head into map number 1, as mentioned. No Offense, QuQ. No Offense, hoping to give us a good first impression for the majority of people. I feel like No Offense hasn't been, again, it really isn't a team that is fully, I would say, old. They're not old gens, they're a bit more new gen, even having people from E-Wave play in their team from Season 9, but with it, QuQ. Someone that we have seen recently, we have seen in Season 9, we have seen in many seasons, and they have definitely had a lot of moments where they tend to flip the pan, but as of current, we are going to be just looking at it. I mean, Cafe, it's a huge map. We can take a look at the layout in general. Again, bottom floor, verticality. First floor, verticality. Second floor may not be verticality, but it's definitely going to be window plays because the entire top floor is surrounded by them, and I'm just interested what operator bans we could be having here, Travi.
Yeah. I mean, operator bans, on the side of No Offense, they're pretty diverse in their operator bans. They don't really have a set of bans that they're consistently banning. It's quite often on the attacking ban side, at least a Dokkaebi or a shield that they ban out. On defense, they're looking towards more a mirror and a vigil. Versus on the other side of Team QuQ, their attacking bans are almost always one of the 3 shield operators we have in the game, that being the Blitz, the Montaigne, or the Blackbeard now. So they don't really like to play against those shields, and that is something that I think No Offense will probably be aware of going into this matchup and how they want to play around that. For Team QuQ, is it they don't like to play the shields, or is it they struggle to play against those shields, hence why they see such a high ban rate?
Definitely could be the fact that a lot of people, while they may not like the shields, at times it comes down to less preferability, but again, it's like new maps, right? You come to a new map, you don't like it because you don't know it. I think those two really nicely collide together, and QuQ, hopefully, maybe they're going to be taking them out. Again, Monty ban, Blackbeard ban, all of those are very acceptable, even in the highest skill of competition, and with it, we transition over to the operator bans as we speak of them, and we've seen a bit more of a glimpse of what me and Travi think here going towards the attack, but what about the defense, Travi?
Well, defense for the side of Team QuQ, it's typically one of 3. It's either Mirror, Cade, or Valkyrie. 3 very powerful operators. I think that's more down to situational and what we're going to see down. And an Ash ban starting off there. I believe we've got the bug, so I think the bans are flipped the other way around, I'm pretty sure. If I'm not mistaken. So that will actually be No Offense banning out the Ash.
Huh. Well, that's interesting.
It's not unusual. They've done it a couple of times before. What is unusual, and one we don't see all too often from the side of Team QuQ, is actually going to be that Deimos ban. It's one they've not pulled before, at least according to Liquipedia. And, well, we know how powerful Deimos can be as an operator, able to really punish individual roam players out, caught off on their own. Mirror, yet again, such a powerful operator. You think Top Floor Cafe, you think of that mirror and those mirror windows. No surprise that she's getting taken care of there.
I can definitely see the Deimos and Mira being banned here, but the Ashe, look, QuQ may ban her, but I want to know the reason as to why. The operator herself, it's very versatile, people like to use it. Yes, replaceable at the same time, and conditional as the gadget itself kind of counters a bit more toward that Azami Castle focus, which is definitely something that the defenders take into account a lot of the time, especially on Cafe, because yet again, Castle, Windows, Azami, piano side, you call it, right? The Ashe has a lot of utility, but there's still the Zofia. At times you have way much better options, so it's going to be interesting to see, but maybe they just really don't like no headbox characters. Whatever it may be, though, first side we're going to be heading to is going to be mining first floor. Yet again, for some people, you know, people like to see the top-bottom type of, I guess, tradition, the rank tradition, but for now, honestly, mining is very interesting since, again, statistics-wise, people really like to tend to try and lean a bit more towards Fireplace.
Yeah, mining is secondly, especially as a primary bomb site choice, the first one you're going to be going towards. I mean, talk about opening the matchup with a little bit of a statement here on the side of No Offense. Operator lineup-wise, I mean, it's fairly standard, nothing too crazy out of the ordinary. I mean, you're going to see here this castle operator being used to really lock down this top floor and try and restrict the rotations that the attacking team are able to get open for themselves. And if you look towards that attacking operator lineup there, you can see as well, Manul Kai down there is on the ram, an operator phenomenal for dealing with that vertical floor, just getting it wide open. That sledge as well there. Perfect operator to be doing so. Of course, we know Cafe. You start at the top, you work your way down. That's how most Cafe rounds tend to go.
What we don't like to see too much, though, is a bit of aggression here from No Offense. Either be it the Cage spawn peeking or having a very unfortunate run, QuQ have taken off quite a lot of blood counts, and now it's going to be left down to one bullet, the deciding silver bullet for the Cade on No Offense. Hopefully there won't be too much aggression from him, but in the meanwhile, we're making quick progress with the ram drone, and in the meanwhile, even larger progress with you getting a huge pick over to the Azami. The Mute going to feel a bit more pinched, trying to get a rotation. There's the shotgun, but once behind you, it's a game of hide and seek, and Gold found one, but he's looking to flip the pan, and this may be a bit more aggressive than expected. The R4C comes in to strike yet again, and even the sledge dropping down to piano side, as all of a sudden, it's down to a 2-4, and left down are going to be the Legion and Mute to handle it all.
That's it. This round's just descending into utter chaos now. Gold trying to hold on from the top above. C4, as you saw a second ago, that's been burnt, which means this diffuser should go down really, really easily there. You can see there, the ace is going to be attempting it. Kit's going down. Now it's going to be a retake situation for this defense. Gold, being Jackal pinged out, is able to get a nice pick, but is immediately traded back. And that's just Kodar left on a sliver of HP. Make that none at all as Team QuQ they get themselves not only an aggressive and pretty good first round board.
Very confusing as well.
Yeah,
we
all over the
had
place.
people pushing in, dropping hatch, do as you will. The mute going for a bit of a loop-de-loop, lost himself in the process. And in the meanwhile, it may be looking towards a possible rehost, possibly not. Gonna have to get information on it, but still looking back towards this round. It was, like you mentioned it was utter chaos out of nowhere. From 0 to 100, people playing verticals, QuQ being all the way back, and in the meanwhile, no offense, still trying to find themselves, as they themselves were completely discombobulated. Honestly, I hope this won't continue down, because I think it's going to be more of a bearer of bad news, if nothing else here, for no offense.
Yeah. That one was certainly just scrappy all over the place. I mean, you looked at that top floor, you lost the Azami so early on. Credit to Gold where it is due. Got a couple of kills and survived upstairs in that position way longer than I think had any right really surviving. I mean, the sledge did drop. I'm not sure whether that was an accident or not, because you do drop right in between the two objectives when you still got players on the top floor. Not an ideal position to be in for the attack, but you know what? QuQ made it work. They got it across the board at the end of the day, and, well, hopefully it's an omen for things to come. Bit of a chaotic match I think we've got lined up on our hands here. It's definitely not going to be default, if that's to say the least.
It's not going to be something we get to see every now and then, right? It's not your usual casual match of Rainbow Six Siege, but that's a good way to start us off, just to put us on our tippy toes. But we head to round number 2. QuQ taking it quite dominantly, at least when it comes down to the final count. That 4v2 was definitely working in their favor, and even get the post plant and a lot of pressure overall, and it felt like, no offense, were stumbling over their own steps. But we head down to it, a bit of a change, and not only hopefully in the lineup, but at the same time the site, switching from mining over to fireplace and reading, which again, this is going to be a bit more focused towards that verticality. You don't want to give it off so easily. But what I'm not liking, from no offense, is that they don't really bring that operator lineup that really shuts down a push from upstairs. Yes, they have the aggression from guns, but normally a Fenrir, an Azami, all of that would be fantastic to see.
Absent 100%. It's absent from this one. But what does strike me as curious there is bottom left of your screen, the Oryx pick. That Oryx, that ability to be able to jump back up hatches. That may be the game plan here for no offense. Maybe you want to lull them into a false sense of security on this top floor. Say, here you go, you can have the top floor for relatively free. We're not going to contest it too much. Might try and burn a little bit of time, but we don't want to put all of our eggs in towards that basket. Instead, they want to have the Oryx on below, ready to make that retake, ready to jump back upstairs, try and cause some chaos amongst the ranks of QuQ. Of course, QuQ, fairly similar operator lineup to what we saw before there. You can see the sledge has been swapped out for the gridlock, trying to deny that retake opportunity. QuQ maybe just picking it, or maybe just having a bit of a read in towards that Oryx pick, and guessing that no offense are going to want to play in towards this sort of retake game. And hello, the Oryx has been spotted out here on the drone, tucked away behind the bar. The question is he going to be the opening pick for this round, or is he going to be able to get away with his life here? You can see here, 2 players of QuQ looking to line up for this one. He's going to have to pull some masterclass to be able to get himself out of this position.
Looking forward, the D5, it is definitely a force that cannot be reckoned with most of the times, and even the calls coming out there to distract them for an extra bit. Coming from main side, just dashes away and dodges and weevils, and the meanwhile, the Oryx gets away with his life. That's going to be the first time, but you only get one opportunity like it, as QuQ in the meanwhile have been wasting so much time on the downstairs, they haven't been able to properly focus on the up, and that's where the down starts, so it starts to really kick in, right? As this con and pro situation, you try to clear the Oryx, yes, you maybe get him away towards site, but he can move down back again, because top is where you should be prioritizing your action, your utility, and mostly time. It's already a minute and 30, and no offense, have not lost a lot of their utility.
Yeah, 100%, and no offense. Well, they've not lost the utility, but they've lost a life now. They've lost the first of their top floor players. Gold now left. One of the 2 remaining players left on this top floor to hold on, but you can see here, C4 below, may be able to make its mark. No, not quite. Narrowly dodged there. Disaster avoided for QuQ, but they need to get a bit of a move on here. You still got a minute only left on the clock, and you've still got 2 players on this top floor here. Russell may be unchecked for the time being. You can look to see this Oryx looking to go back down towards the bottom floor, and I think they're happy to give up this top floor now, no offense. However, what they're not going to be happy to give up is going to be Russen. It's going to be the first, another one to fall, 3 versus 5 now. QuQ is slowly extending that man advantage. They might be doing it slowly, but they are doing it. However, Kodaf goes back up White Stairs, able to get a pick on towards top 4 player. However, is immediately traded back by Fur. But man advantage still strongly in the favour of QuQ, and the Oryx all the way down below towards red stairs, nowhere to be seen. Going to have to go for a crazy retake, and it's just going to get shut down before it can even get started, as does the last player. And QuQ, they get themselves just a second round, and looking pretty good form so far.
Offense tried to put something up, a bit of a brick wall for QuQ to run into, but in the end they ended up entrapping themselves. I mean, that was just absolute chaos. Again, we had people running around into people's lines of sight trying to take 1v1s, but in the end you find out you ran into the entire team of QuQ. And no offense right now, you are being fried. Let me tell you, this was a round that showed what QuQ's teamwork can really do. Maybe they pushed out and wasted some time in the beginning, but when they started applying that pressure towards that mid-round, that late round, again, the Oryx had a need for that post-plant. He needed the retake. He needed some sort of ground to be retaken so he can move a lot freely, but in the end, he had no clue that there were going to be people watching him from red stairs. So goes for each and single player from No Offense, as they just don't have the information that QuQ are definitely lacking, or actually giving off. What I love from No Offense, again, the operator picks definitely try and go against towards the symmetry that focuses on aggression, gunfights. You take these 1v1s, but in the end, what are gunfights without information? You need something solid to go off of so you can go for these pre-fires, go for these headshots, and well, the operators are looking a bit better and a bit more tender towards it for now. We're gonna have to see how that changes on.
Yeah, I mean, with the Intel game, you're going to have to wonder on the impact of that Valkyrie ban. Of course, she's such a strong operator on Cafe, most maps really, and generally speaking. She's so strong, she's amazing for getting that intel, and that's something where No Offense are really struggling at the minute. Operator response, as you say, has sort of responded to that a little bit. There, you can see there, the Echo's been brought out, which should provide a little bit more information to the defensive team, as well as 3 bulletproof cameras being brought by all of these defenders. No Offense. They're doing... I think the plan's there, but the information mid-rounds is where it's lacking. It's where they're falling short. And they're hopefully, with this operator lineup, going to be responding to that a little bit better. Seemingly going for something a little bit more default and to be expected. Nothing too flashy or crazy here on this bottom floor site of Kitchen. Of course, all 5 players of their defense already relegated towards the bottom floor. QuQ being given mostly uncontested control of the map, minus this little corridor here. Vertical, wide and open.
Drop. No Offense still keeping this bottom floor just for now, but this is what I talk about. QuQ now having a lot of ground on that top floor, and this is where they find that free movement, that headspace that they can work off of. The Ram hasn't even advanced towards the side of mining. Right now, just lurking to catch anyone off guard, taking a foot in the wrong direction. In the meanwhile, going to be moving down Brown, and we have a complete spread out from QuQ because they know, they are confident in their information gathering, that they can go about these top 2 floors as they wish. There's going to be no one interrupting. You have the Gridlocks as well there to support you in the back lines, and as of current round 3, it may not be looking like it is anyone's game, but let me tell you, QuQ have already gained so much that they don't need much of an execution or at least preparation. We're just waiting for these guns to start ticking.
Exactly so, and now our line up for the attack is going to be looking towards these players in VIP, towards this player behind bar. That is the next hurdle for QuQ to try and overcome here. They've got a minute left on the clock, so still ample time to do so. However, it's a player getting really, really aggressive. Swings down, takes down Schnitzy, and suddenly, for the first time in a little while, QuQ, they have themselves a strong advantage. However, it is immediately traded back 4 versus 4 now, and here comes the player in VIP. He's going to be the next one to fall. QuQ, they've lined themselves up so far in this round, continuing to steam ahead, and where No Offense a little bit had the man advantage, it's certainly been turned the other way. Exothermic going to be used on the castle barricade. Unfortunately, no really other way of getting around that. Vulcan canisters may come into play, but the attack, they look well positioned here to try and get the kit down. Still got a couple of bit of utility in pocket. No smokes, though, to try and deny that plant. Nose went down with the Jackal, I believe, so they're going to have to be taken out of the equation for this round here. This Echo is going to fall, not going to be able to deny the plant, and surely QuQ should be able to get this kit down here. Kodarth and Gold, all that remains standing. Make it just Kodarth in a 1 versus 3, none versus 3, and QuQ, well, so far at least on Cafe, they've been cooking.
3K badge for Larry, the Gridlock not only being a supporting pillar for the entirety of QuQ's attack, but in the meanwhile also being the front gun to bottleneck No Offense into a pressure point. Well, we can talk a lot of mistakes that QuQ were made, especially making one big hole with your exothermic, or rather, as Thermite himself would say it, making a new door. Right up. And, well, he definitely did, but he also opened a door for opportunities for him himself to get burnt alive like a crisp. And, well, that's just an unfortunate turn, right? Again, No Offense had so many good positions. The Goyo pushing up, having the opening, but how quick QuQ were there to return? And in the meanwhile, No Offense still losing out on 1v1s, which their entire essential kit, from what I seem like it, is based off of? I mean, you really shouldn't be. You should try to play a bit more together. We had the word completely alone on Christmas side, someone on bar, but the second people started pushing down a bit more, the second QuQ, yet again, that teamwork that we really emphasize, it is some sort of core strength that they work off of, and it is very nice to see, as in the end, you lose a player to get equalized out in the player counts to your own mistake by walking into fire with low HP, not being sure if it's going to be there for the tick or not. And in the end, no offense, have themselves a 3v3. That's fantastic. You're running out of time. The diffuser's dropped. We need someone to be quick on the rotation. It's so much things to tick about. But QuQ, they managed to do it. And under pressure, they shine bright.
Yeah, shining bright so far indeed. You saw that an entirely changed up operator lineup there using that 6th pick. I mean, it's the first time this objective has been brought. Full site rotation coming through for no offense, with Cocktail finally being played through. All 4 sites that are available on Cafe have now been played. Second floor sites played the first 2 rounds. Then we went to Kitchen, and now we're going towards Cocktail. For no offense, they really need to start getting this one over the line here. So far, QuQ have really been in control of this matchup. They've been doing such a good job of playing off the back of each other, and as you say, winning the gunfights where it matters most. And yet again, Russell going for a bit of a run out, and it's going to be severely, severely punished there by the players of QuQ. They're 5 versus 4. They've got 2 minutes on the clock, so still plenty of time to work with. And sure, I believe that's Larry there, did lose a lot of health during that engagement, but at the end of the day, you've still got the gun up. You've still got all of that utility in pocket that can be used going towards the end stages of this round. Well, you see there, more Vulcan canisters getting burned. Cigar now looking to be the next point of focus for this attacking team, trying to get control of that. For no offense, I think they're going to be looking for a way to get into this round here.
Absolutely will. Now, Russin been feeling the swing of things just a bit too much, not only on brown stairs, but even on 3 floors down when the QuQ is on the attack. That's what I'm talking about. Their execution, when you get to delivering some shots, it's great to see, but in the meanwhile, you just can't finish that last bullet, as Gold is going to be there to make sure that Larry is finished off like it was intended, and in the meanwhile, you have the Capital. That's going to be a huge pick here for no offense, not only because it's a player, not only because you get this 484, you get some sort of control back, but at the same time, it's the Capital, the execution operator, the best that right now QuQ have to offer, and he's suddenly gone. They're going to be left down to a limit of what they can do with their defuse and plant, and again, it's just something that they can't reap off of no longer. Getting up close and personal with this mute is going to be a difficult task, but the L2A3 is making it even more difficult. 1 shot a second, and that's going to be Extra going off. Peeks out double, and that's no offense coming out for trouble. All of a sudden, it's Havana left down. 40 seconds on the line, while though QuQ have a lot of time, they just don't have the guns to back it up. A good down gets 1, but in the end, you have no expectation, and you get the second. Though it's going to be Dav taken out. A revive coming through, and yet again, this is very possible, but the chance is just quite low. The Habana trying to find the right steps in the right direction. A wallbang here would be absolutely fantastic. The double could have been there, but only could have, woulda, shoulda. And in the end, Kesko there to deliver the final blow. And round 4 finally leaning and pivoting towards no offense.
Finally, they've gotten the round over line. I mean, that team play around the bathroom, top white stairs position, some beautiful, beautiful work there from no offense to really lock down there. And QuQ, they sort of got into Cigar and kind of just walked into their death from there. I mean, this Abado did get the down on towards Gold, but I think that revive coming through there at the end was really the nail in the coffin. The 1 versus 2 may have been doable, but the 1 versus 3, I think that was a bit of a line too far there, unfortunately, for the side of QuQ. It's proven they can bleed, but I think the issue now, for no offense, is going to come in towards the way of the site rotation. You've won Cocktail. Unfortunately for you, that was the 4th round. You're not going to be able to bring out Cocktail or top floor again on your defensive half at all. If you want to play Cocktail again on the defense, you're going to have to get all the way to overtime. And I mean, ideally, neither of these teams don't want to get there. They want to close this one out in regulation. So no offense, they're going to have to go back towards the objectives that they've lost so far. And they're going to be going back down towards Kitchen. Now, the previous time this was played, no offense, they just basically gave up the 1st and 3rd and 2nd floors right off the bat. They didn't really want to contest them. QuQ, given control of the map, given free roam over it so early on, and that's really played into their strength during that round. Sort of just been able to box the players of no offense in and really restrict their movement. This time round, though, Gold going to be put on towards the Vigil, all the way towards the top floor there, currently playing in Cigar Lounge. And I've got a feeling that is going to be no offensive response to that, how the previous round went on this site, and go, right, we need someone present on the top floor. We need someone to be the backstab, be the anchor player. As Russell moves up there as well. No offense, looking a bit more spread out this time.
I've seen so many times where a team wins 3 rounds and loses it in the exact same way, so I'm hoping that QuQ actually be a bit more consistent here around, and it's definitely not leaning in towards that direction, as that's going to be the T5 claiming yet another soul for the chamber. Round 5 definitely not looking too good, as again, look at the operator you lost, the Ram. You haven't even taken full site control of the top floor, and all of a sudden, your main gadget to take care of verticality is gone. You can rely on shotguns as much as you want, but it's not going to be as nearly of a fine job as that Ram could have pulled off. In the meanwhile, you have the Jackal. Yes, most of it is cleared. And in the meanwhile, No Offense are still bringing that Vigil that's somehow roaming on top floor. You have 2 minutes remaining. Get quick on the move. Don't play alone. You've seen it gone wrong so many times. The legs were spotted. The track is there, and so is the headshot. Popped him like a balloon, and all of a sudden, QuQ bring it back. What I don't like to see here is the fact that they're so spread out. And in the meanwhile, well, it may be seeming to work in their favor because Russin has been on a very aggressive peak throughout the entirety of the game. No Offense still lose out on players. QuQ still lose out on the Ram. And as of current, this match has been left, right, and center.
100% left, right, and center. I mean, can't really put a tail on who's going to be winning this round yet. And even so, you look towards the operator lineups of these two teams. You go, No Offense. Sure, they've lost more players, but they're losing more players now. Schnitzy is able to get a pick on towards V0 as Kodaf trades it one back with a C4, but immediately falls themselves. And now it's just QuQ left in a 1 versus 3 to clutch this one up. QuQ, you lost the Ram early on, but they've been able to bring this one back. They've not got the user down yet. They've not got themselves onto the objective yet, but that is only going to be a matter of time before they do so. QuQ going to have to work some magic to bring this one back, and no, it's not going to happen. QuQ, they're going to find themselves 4 rounds guaranteed in this half, and they're going to be going into round number 6, looking for their 5th.
That was definitely a lot of chaos to unfold, and let's just break it down for a second. No Offense get the opening. It's a Ram. Great. Back off? No, we're going to have the Vigil and Goyo be upstairs. Rather than them playing off of each other, trying to hold crossfires and keep verticality, even though that QuQ can't necessarily play off of it, it's that late round retake if anything goes wrong, bakery, Christmas side, right? No, let's have the Vigil randomly holding red stairs and just peek into the Jackal so he dies. Same goes for the Goyo. Drops down pillar after his Vigil is dead, and instead of wasting time yet again trying to go for that surprise element that could have been set up on top floor, he drops down to pillar to a spread out QuQ, which was a mistake by them. They work together nicely, and I mean together. I don't mean spread out throughout the entirety of the map, and as consistent as they have been with taking over ground very swiftly, their velocity is definitely up a top notch of this match. It's just the issue that they necessarily at times do get just a bit lost. But in the end, No Offense didn't take it into account. They lost that again. 4-2 is the best situation they can come out with. And if it comes down 5-1, it's going to be a bit dire here, Travi.
100%. It's going to be a little bit dire if QuQ are able to get this round over the line. Now, No Offense, they believe in the old saying, 3rd time is the charm. They're going to be attempting kitchen yet again. Early spawn peak, it's going to be not denied. No one's going to die off it. I've got a feeling QuQ, they're looking to get aggressive. They're just going to full send here, straight through the fire. Schnitzy leading the charge and suddenly is now isolated from the team in bakery. Takes a hell of a lot of damage, does end up falling, but it's just that thinker outside. Jake a little bit late on the rotate through. Russin able to get a pick. Kodaf does fall, however. It's 4 versus 4, and the rush attempt from QuQ has kind of been stalled out a little bit here. Getting a little bit too hot for comfort there by the big bakery double doors. Well, you see Russin looking to take one down with the Vector. He's going to be able to get the down. Supported by the teammate as well. Zero able to make this happen, and QuQ, they're getting shut out of this round really, really quickly. The Ram rotated upstairs, great, but your teammates are dying downstairs. They're on their own. All down to Jake on that first floor. Ram's got to hop in, gets one, immediately traded back, and now it's just a 3 versus 1.
Possibly couldn't go wrong, and it does not. Russell there, finally with a shot of his own, peeked out and found success, but he's been looking for about 6 rounds now, and so he gets it, is now heading into the second half. What are we expecting? Well, we're expecting QuQ to take it a bit more away. Again, this is going to be a bit more defender-sided, mostly because of the fact, although operator-wise, no, you really can't play off of operators much because both the Jackal, both the Dokkaebi are on the line, so it's going to be a bit hard to roam. But when it comes to time denial on the bottom floor, it's going to be fantastic to see, as long as, again, you don't play like No Offense and jump down to pillar, but trying to pinpoint it less down and point our fingers a bit less. In the end, they're on the defense, they're going top floor first, and I already see some operators that I didn't see from No Offense just a bit more consistency with them as well, which is going to be that Wamai and the Azami, which, okay, no offense, did use it, but just, I don't think, as much as they should have.
No, they bought it in that first round and then really didn't see it too much after that. I mean, admittedly, in the first round she was bought, she was shut down pretty quickly. It was, I believe, the opening pick of the entire game during round number 1. So it's not really a surprise, I think, in a way that they were a bit cautious to play back and go back that way, for no offense. But perhaps should have done. She's such a powerful operator and not really taking advantage of the utility that she provides. Might have been a little bit of a mistake here, though. In the side of, well, no offense, I mean, it's fairly standard operator. I've really seen the Grim for the first time this matchup. Is opting to go for use the Cow on Hives instead of the Capital Bolts or the Execute. Spawn peek attempt spotted, but no one's really playing off of it here. No offense, they starting things off as you'd expect. Get on the roof, start to look your way down. And I think these first couple rounds here are going to be telling for this half. Look towards the first half. QuQ were able to take 3 rounds in a row. If no offense, if they lose 3 attacking rounds in a row, that locks them out of the game. They need to go into this half warmed up, that they started to get towards, warmed up form that they started to get towards the latter half of half number 1. They need to get to that form quickly, or otherwise things are going to be a little bit dire for them.
Definitely will be a bit more tragic, but for now, we haven't seen much of a move. Yet again, this is that very early round where people are just trying to advance. It's how the story goes. You go on top, you break hatches, and you found yourself to be dug deep. Very going to be the opening here. Thankfully, it is no Azami, but only a Goya, which has already placed down canisters, but you have allowed Gold to enter into Cigar's shop, and he's found himself 2 victims already with the F2, going off of your own head holes, and that is just not reaping off of your own benefits, but allowing your enemies to do so as well. The third pistol whip on it, the secondary looking for greatness, and even top red contested. Larry, he cares not, peeks out, Gold taken out. Finally took us 3 players to be dead before one of these Twitch Maz bullets were finally put into the chrome dome of the player himself. A 2-4 in QuQ right now. They're slowly going to start losing composure if we allow such large gaps to be exposed.
Exactly, such a large gap exposed now, and no offense, they've got plenty of time to work with. They've got a minute 15, it's the top floor objective. They don't need to worry about working their way downstairs. There's just one floor they need to focus on here. They've got a really, really strong man advantage. However, Jake has other thoughts. 2 picks in the round now, and it's 3 versus 2. Things are looking a little bit close here, and if one more player on the side of no offense falls, I've got a feeling this one could be going the other way, and things are looking closer than they were. 55 seconds though, time is slowly going away for the attacking team. Jake, left hold on Cocktail, sees the player through, making a bit of a closer move towards the skylight here. But again, it's just this factor of time and this spotting. Larry going to be spotted out by the Grim Bees here. Jake going to be focused on now. And the attack, they're going to stall out now. 30 seconds left on the clock, circling around, deciding how they want to play this one. They've got a 3 versus 2, so they still do have man advantage. And now they have a 3 versus 1. Jake, it's going to have to be an ace clutch if they want this round on the side of QuQ. Kit's going to be going down. Player, they know where he is. They should be able to shut this one down, but no, Jake says otherwise. Tripling around now, 2 versus 1. Kesko and Koda, after all that left standing for no offense, they have an idea of where the remaining player of QuQ is, and all they have to do is bide their time, wait things out, wait for Jake to go into the objective to make a slip up, or they can just wait out the diffuser, wait out this clock. QuQ brought it back, brought it closer than it has been, but they're going to need some magic to make this one happen. They know where the players rotated off to, and there you go. Kesko's going to close out, no offense. They are able to get their first attack on the board, but I've got a feeling that was a little bit closer than perhaps had any right being.
I'm really not feeling the defensive mood swing from QuQ here. We saw the movement. It was janky. It was a bit rusty, I'd call it. At the first start, you lose out on Ferry, which is just unfortunate, right? But all of a sudden, there's Cigar taking over, and there's no one securing it, nor no one securing your head holes. People crouching, looking into windows, trying to peek. QuQ have found themselves in the chaos that they have caused for no offense of their own first half. And in the meanwhile, I mean, this is going to be the 3-4. Or if it keeps up, no offense, is going to be climbing up the ladder to that EQ, which is just 1 round away. But we want to keep a bit of distance here. We cannot allow these large gaps to be exposed. Going top floor, if you lose a player, that's completely fine. But you should be able to have some sort of patch on that wound and no salt being brought by no offense, because that's just going to be hurtful. It's going to be demising, it's going to be demolishing, and the mental is just going to be looking a bit more low. Although it is the first round, it's the first half. It's the second half of it, and we're starting to approach or rather distance ourselves from that blueprint that we made and trying to approach the build itself, you know, the second half where the match points begins approaching, and this is where rounds start to matter most because it's a race. Like you said, Travi, both of these teams probably want to finish it within regulation, and is the first one to reach 6 that has that opportunity.
Exactly. And as well, you know, at the end of the day, this is a best of 3. As much as it's a race, it's also about being a little bit of a marathon as well. You've got to pace yourself. You can't just go all out on this first map. You want to close out in regulation. Ideally, you just want as quick as 2 maps, quick 2-0. That's what you want to go into these. You're showing as little as possible, of course. We're still very, very early days here in Season 10. Swiss stage, we're still in the first round of it. So this is the first time these teams are playing, and you've got a long, long road if you want to be winning out this league and this season. And with that, you've got a lot to show and a long road to get there. You want to be showing as little as possible as we get to that point. Now, I want to look towards the round history a little bit here. Of the 4 previous rounds, No Offense have won 3 of them. QuQ have only been able to take 1 of the last 4 rounds here. So, while sure, they got 3 rounds very, very dominantly and very, very well done to get them across within the first 3 rounds. They got 3 rounds in a row, bam, 3-0 lead, and we were suddenly starting to think to ourselves, things might be a little bit one-sided here. It's starting to flip around a little bit now. No Offense are warming into this matchup. They're warming into Cafe, and that seems to be continuing here in round number 8 as first pick, Gold, able to take down Manukai. Here comes the run out, but no, it's the Claymore. And No Offense, they've got themselves another 5 versus 3 advantage.
What are we doing, QuQ? Yes, Gold has taken major damage, but why this aggression? Why this sudden change of pace? From the attack, you were looking completely perfect. All of a sudden, that's that teamwork coming in, but Larry's the one to be judged. And in the meanwhile, the C4 finding that nuke KD. All of a sudden, it's down to E3-2. The Mozzie's completely locked out of everything. He tries peeking out, but you know one's behind you. Finally, the MP5K makes its way, but Kesko there to deliver the final few bullets. And QuQ have now equalized that out, or rather, have allowed No Offense to equalize it out, which is credit to give it where it's due. No Offense have really played this well. They have taken positions, and they have taken the basic assets of the map. Windows, corridors, we have hatches, we have skylight. All of these are just being executed by No Offense to a degree where QuQ can't really realize it. I mean, in the end, we had windows to be played, QuQ peek out, and all of a sudden, they're dead, right? That's the opening. It changed to a second, a third. Maybe a kill is dropped from QuQ's side, but No Offense, they have no problem backing it up. And that's for the 4 here, as we're really closing in on now No Offense maybe even taking the lead.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, with 4-4 now, realistically, things have been reset here in the server, and for QuQ, it's got to be taking a toll a little bit. You had a 3-0 lead, what feels like really not that long ago. Well, it wasn't that long ago. It was 5 rounds ago you had that. You had yourself a 3-0 lead. You were looking pretty comfortable. They were looking really, really good. Things went wrong on Cocktail, and it feels like it sort of spiraled a little bit out of control from there. 3 consecutive rounds now, for No Offense, as they're going to be, as QuQ, they're going to be heading down towards the kitchen. See if they can start cooking on their defenses, but so far it's really not been looking too great from them. And No Offense, well, they're going to be bringing the shield on the board. They're going to be bringing out something slightly different, perhaps, to what we've seen so far in this matchup. And, well, things might just be an attacker-sided cafe so far. The way we're looking at it. All outside a small bakery. Curious to see what the move here is from No Offense. For the time being, I think QuQ, they're quite happy to just hold here and wait. All 5 players on the defensive side down towards that bottom floor. So free reign of the map really has been given to No Offense. However, they're not seemingly wanting to play into that yet. All 5 players still outside the building. I think they're going to be looking to make something more direct go to sight here. Here it goes. Here comes the rush. But no, it's just shut down immediately. Gold, though, does trade one back. But things are getting scrappy. And it's not going the way of No Offense. QuQ, they're finally coming alive here in the second half. It's now a 2 versus 4. Russell, 0. Hands out. 2 minutes on the clock, and this is not looking good for the attack in the slightest.
Well, he's not. Flashes up close, and of course the defense are going to be a bit more cornered, while in the meanwhile Russ can't move an inch. Fair there to support, Fair for a second, and Fair is phenomenal with his shots, as all of a sudden QuQ, what are we doing? That was absolutely fantastic in the end phase, but still, No Offense, I like how they were thinking, right? They saw that QuQ had no Goyo, no direct counter, or no way of isolating the blitz like No Offense did themselves on defense. So they said, you know what? If they're not going to be taking any operators like it, we can have a bit more of an easy entry. You make it, and all of a sudden you get the opening. It's great, but then it falls. It's getting traded out. QuQ is taken out close and personal. Larry going off on a streak, and Fair there for the final few, as all of a sudden No Offense are completely targeted out. That's why we love the head holes, and both these teams have been having a lot of trouble with where they want to position certain players. We have people peeking into head holes, but looking in a different direction. Again, you want to be in a position where you're safe, but at the same time you're looking at something. The side of No Offense right now, we're stepping into a position when they're not safe, and they're looking at nothing. That's kind of what we're leaning in towards, but QuQ take it away. It's 5-4. They regained themselves a bit of a lifeline on the board. And right now we're on that double-digit round count. Round 10 now going to be underway. Ref phase done, and we're back to library after some time.
Yeah. Back towards this second floor now previously, so it's been fairly attacker favoured. It's been both second floor sides been played once each, both once by the attack. That was QuQ once each as well in the first couple of rounds of this match. So, as things stand at least, it's definitely an attacker-favoured objective, but things can change. We're on a slightly different half and very different operator lineup coming in from the side of No Offense. Brava and a Blackbeard. Green brought what I believe is the first time here in this matchup, but on the defense as well. QuQ as well, one we see a little bit now every now and then. We get a little bit of a treat, even more so of a treat for us as casters, when someone walks into a QuQ trap and maybe not even to tempt fate or to put a bit of a wish in there, but Brava hacks QuQ trap and then defense walks into it, goes boom. That's always quite funny to watch. But regardless, 2 minutes left on the clock now. The attack, they're going to be starting from the top floor, work their way down, as is the story every single time on Cafe. We've only got 2 players upstairs from the side of QuQ. That's going to be Schnitzy and Jake, looking to try and hold on to this top floor for as long as they can. One of them does have a C4 in pocket, which definitely will be used to try and contest the shield. Will be try stop that Blackbeard getting any presence in towards this round. Those castle barricades. I mean, I'm looking to the lineup of No Offense here, and bar the Selma charges, can a Blackbeard charge through the castle barricades, can't he? Pretty sure he can.
Yeah, he definitely
Yeah, he can, okay. So, it's not going to be too much of a problem, but certainly here, you can see here, Buck, Kesco, only got really one choice for how he gets his way through this one. Going to be supported there by Kodarth, the Blackbeard. As the top floor collapse comes in, it is successful for QuQ. They do lose a player each, but minute 20 left on the clock. So far, I mean, No Offense, it's a bit slow. And now it's not so great. You've lost the Blackbeard, you've lost the shield. Schnitzy, going to be looking for more, going to get caught out by the flashbang. Falls back a little bit, does fall with the life, and things are equal. Back out 3-3, a minute left on the round, and not quite able to make the vertical work.
It's unnecessary, right? The Mozzie could have just stood back, not taking the flash, no need to peek. I like the fact that it was probably that type of fear factor, right? You get flashed and you think that someone's going to push you, and in the end, it's quick thinking. But overall, you know, you take it. You try and gamble it away, you lose out on that 50-50, and all of a sudden, No Offense are 50% HP on 2 players. Grim and Buck looking quite grim, you could call it, while the Ace on top floor with the diffuser. We're going to want to get to moving. A step left, right, and center would be necessary, but all of a sudden, QuQ right now looking to be quite criminal on it, going for this verticality. The SMG-11 spotted, hits some bullets, but not all, which is the most important part. Fair gets downed, 2-2 all of a sudden, and a counter flank coming out from No Offense as they're taking it all to advantage. One on pillar. The gunfight here could be quite a stronghold for the Warden to hold. No idea about when the diffuser that was dropped, a down onto the other, and all of a sudden it's down to a 1v1. Time is ticking. The last one could be down. The Buck picks it up. It's close up and personal, but all of a sudden Manny takes it away. Kai with the final few seconds just to win it out and get QuQ that 6-4. Holy, that was all around the place.
Yeah. That one was back and forth, back and forth. I mean, we saw it there. The flank got flanked. That's not one you do see every single day there. But QuQ, they're able to make it work, just barely able to make it stick. And as you could see there on your screen, folks, the most crucial part of that, they're now 6-4 up. They have map point here, which for them, that is so crucial to this one. And they're almost there, stealing their opponent's map pick away from them. Of course, Cafe was No Offense's map pick. So if QuQ are able to run away with this one, as we head maybe look towards Chalet, things might get a bit spicy in this one, but for the time being, we're going to focus here and now on Cafe. And what some beautiful composure there from Kai towards the end of this round, just have to say it there. Beautiful play around the clock, able to just play around the diffuser. Sure, it does get stolen underneath their nose. That did happen, but able to hold the composure, able to bring it back and recover from it. And now, no offense, they're required to get 2 consecutive rounds across the line. One slip up, Cafe's done for you. It's going to have to be Chalet for them if they lose any of the next 2 rounds.
That's so dangerous, right? It's Chalet, Travi. That is a map that both of these teams are quite comfortable on, I assume, especially when you're this high into competitive. So yeah, that's going to be a bit more of a close one, but QuQ right now have 2 chances. They have 2 rounds. You lose both of them, it's overtime, and then you get another chance, I guess, to go over to match point, yada, yada, yada. Or, no offense, right now, lose one of those, and you're heading right over to Chalet, as per mentioned. Now, as it seems like all of this is fading away, no offense yet again, very good on that early beginning, but QuQ then take it away. They go towards that mid-round late game, and all of a sudden they have found chances and odds to work in their favor, and that's the greatness. When they start warming up, at the very beginning, they do play a bit more aggressively and unnecessarily aggressive at times, at certain times, and no offense, seem like they're going to be the cleanup crew. It's QuQ in the end to pick up the mop, put it in the bucket, nicely washed the floor with no offense. And as of current, 2 rounds. These are the only 2 that QuQ have to take it away within regulation, and you need just 1.
Exactly. So for a moment, we thought the comeback was on. No offense, able to string 3 rounds together in a row. They got 4 out of 5 rounds across the line at one point in time. Thought the comeback might be on there. But for the last 2 rounds at least, QuQ have started to show up a bit better form on their defense here. And, well, that 3 rounds that no offense lost in the beginning, that's really what's costing them here. As you can see there, oh, what a shot that was. Looking for a little bit more here. Kai on fire in the previous round and continuing the trend here in what could well be the final round of Cafe, round number 11. Man advantage still firmly in the pockets of QuQ here. Half of the round gone. Half of the round yet to play, but the attacking team, you've lost the Grim, you've lost that Execute utility, you've lost the Ace. That's all of your hard breach gone in the grave. You've got those Rotero drones, but realistically speaking, there's a mute on the board of the other side. You could take castle barricades out with them, sure, but I don't really think there's much else real use for it here. As you can see here, the attacking team, you can see there through the outline, Kodar going to be swinging on. Is it going to be caught out just yet? Yes, he is. Kai continuing. Just fire that gun with deadly efficiency. 15 to 6 right now. Gold is able to get a little bit of a freebie on towards Larry. 2 versus 3. It's closer. But is it close enough for no offense to get this one over the line? No. Kai on the triple. And now it's all down to Gold. The shining star for no offense. Can they do it? No, they cannot. QuQ. They take their opponent's map pick from underneath them. They answer the 3 in a row with 3 in a row of their own. A 7-4 victory here on Cafe. And they're looking pretty good going in towards Chalet.
That was a very strong performance in the end. Nuffins felt the pressure lurking around them, and while they crumbled, not like a cookie, but even worse, it was absolute catastrophe towards the end. A beautiful one-tap from Kai. An even more beautiful second shot towards that Zofia. Tight shots, that's where they thrive. And no offense, well, they were stuck in the tightest of them all. QuQ definitely had them just picked up the spatula. They spanked them. Money, but in the end, no offense, they couldn't finalize it, right? These rounds at the very beginning where they got the 4-2 half, that started to really kick in. A 3-3 would have been great. In the end, those 2 rounds, those 3 last rounds that they won out right now from QuQ were definitely dominant. And if they carry on this towards Chalet, we're looking at a 2-0. But we don't know that just yet. What we're looking at is that the fact that QuQ, was this their map? Was this the map?
No, this was no offense's map, so it's been stolen directly from them. And really crucially, to look towards these teams' recent results here, Chalet, both of these teams in recent matches, they're currently sitting at 2-2 on Chalet, so it's fairly even playing ground regardless of where you go. But if we look towards our third decider map, Nighthaven Labs, that one is massively, massively in the favour of no offense. They're currently 5-2 on it versus QuQ, 0-1 as it stands. So but no offense, they definitely want to get towards Labs and they'll be comfortable on there. But Chalet, it's anyone's playing game. And I think for QuQ, if they're going to win this, it needs to be here in Chalet. It needs to be that 2-0. Don't think Labs is looking great for them if we do end up going there.
No, it is not. But as it currently stands, we're going to be taking a short break just so we can refresh our voices, so you can grab yourself a snack or two to munch on, and we'll be right back after with this short break. It's getting a bit more cold. It's getting a bit more breezy here because we're heading towards Chalet. And well, Travi, what better way to warm us up than with some beautiful, beautiful ESA? And again, we had a result over at Cafe, 7-4, leading in towards QuQ, as No Offense could not pull it through, but I think they're looking towards it because if they can win out on Chalet, like you mentioned earlier, they're going to be looking quite confident on Nighthaven.
Yeah, 100% so. And I think for No Offense, it's really shaking off the fact that you're a map down right now. They started off map number 1 by losing 3 rounds in a row. And if you ask me, those 3 rounds that you lost, that is what really denied them Cafe. If they'd maybe only lost 1 round instead, I'd say we'd be looking at an overtime, perhaps even a No Offense win on their own map pick.
Yeah.
Now, though, they lost those 3 rounds and the rest of the game was fairly close. It was back and forth for the remainder of the match. But those 3 rounds you lost at the first, that's what tilted the scoreline in the favour of QuQ. And now they're going to have to go and steal their opponent's map pick from them if they want to be winning and keeping things alive.
A bit of a trade between them. Yeah. That's what we would need. I mean, in the end, it really comes down to them winning out Chalet. Like you said earlier, Nighthaven favors them heavily. Yes, statistics are only numbers, but in the end, if QuQ have been having a bad performance on that map, they surely can just switch it up with the snap of one's fingers like it. And I definitely think that that's a chance for No Offense to take it away. But that's just a prize they have to earn. And, well, we're going to have to get to Nighthaven. But before that, Chalet. It's a run-of-the-mill map. Operator bans are nothing of the unusual because there's a lot of them, right, Travi? We can talk about Azami, Fenrir, Mira, Valkyrie, Cade, Tubarao, all sorts of options. We can even talk about Ash being reasonable, at least from my perspective here. Yeah. But when we're looking towards the attack, can we expect shields?
Or can we expect shields? They're going to play into this one way or another. I think if they're all banned, they'll obviously be banned. I mean, the thing is, with Blackbeard reworked now, and now he is a shield operator. I'm sure you could do it before with Fuse, but now you have so many shields in the game, you can't ban them all out, regardless of. We're going to be seeing shields here as first operator bans are going to be coming through, and it is yet again going to be QuQ opting to take out that Deimos.
Okay.
I mean, I really don't want to play.
Fun. Yeah. Honestly, the Deimos is just a legit ban. It's one of those operators, again, you can't go wrong with bringing as an attacker. And especially, this is another map where you can really take an aggressive up front. As a defender, when it goes to Rome, you know, there's people downstairs, you're playing up in Solarium, and connections for that retake are really quick. You go Fireplace, you have so much easy access, not only to verticality, to possible operators, to blue, to west, to main, so much opportunities as a defender to retake. So again, the Deimos is a great counter, and QuQ being on the defensive side, they want to have a bit of an easier job when being a bit more on that aggressive up front. Let's talk about the next 2 operators. Dokkaebi, I don't think there's any argument there. She's been played on Cafe, she's played in general, she's annoying, people don't want to go there. As for Azami, I feel like a similar rule sticks to her.
100%. I mean, she's so just strong, so many great positions, but what I'm really looking at is these 2 attacking bans. Just to backtrack slightly on those, Romans are going to have a paradise on this map. You know, sure, you may be faced up with a shield, but Deimos, he's about clearing those Romans, punishing players that are on their own. Dokkaebi, she can instantly track down and give sound cues on any player that is isolated on their own. So, and with those off the board, QuQ, they're probably going to want to be getting quite aggressive with this one. They're going to be wanting to look towards those roaming players and those backstabs, and we're going to be seeing quite a few of those here. Mira is going to be surviving the operator ban phase yet again. You can see it there, brought in the bottom left. Cade ban going to be brought out this time instead of Valkyrie. Head to kitchen. QuQ want to get... I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to finish that statement.
Do it. Let the Dark Force thing.
Oh, but I have to. QuQ want to get cooking here on map number 2. He got the first one. They stole their opponent's map pick from them. And, well, Chalet, it's the battleground they've chosen to bring on. It's where they wanted to bring No Offense to. And they want to keep up the form they showed in map number 1. Gonna be starting off, as we said, kitchen dining defense. See if they can keep things going their way.
Well, I guess it really is true. That puns are a caster's magnum opus, and I definitely can't play down on it. It is so fun to do it. It really is. It slips off the tongue nicely. Cook and cooked. Well, honestly, hopefully they're going to be able to give us a nice 5-star meal. As of current, though, no offense, are the ones to be fried, and maybe they themselves are going to be jumping out to have a try at them. Looking at the lineups, this is the first round, so we can have a bit more of an analyzation with it. And, well, there is no surprise that the Blackbeard and Brava are both in play. Brava is extremely strong. Main cams, be it Valkyries, be it Melusis, there is so much you can work off of, and with combination for Twitch to destroy utilizations to absolutely crumble down these Goyos as early as you can, it is absolute value. And while the no offense may not look like they've made a step in the right direction, nor into the building, it's the fact that they've taken out so much utility with a single Twitch drone and gained so much information.
And as well, with those drone operators, it's so low, it's fairly low risk to bring the drones in. Of course, you don't have to put yourself as a player, as the character, as the operator, you don't have to put yourself in a vulnerable position to get use out of that utility. You're able to just freely plop it in where you want it, get rid of the utility. Sure, the drones are fairly vulnerable themselves, but if the drone gets shot, it's not a big deal. If a player gets shot, it's a massive deal. So, in that regard, they're great use here. What does slightly... Here's QuQ going to be making their way down in towards the basement, looking through, hunting that Valkyrie. Jake, going to be the first one to fall there. Beautiful play from no offense, kind of circle around the player, droned him out of that basement position, up towards backstairs, and punished him down. Now, Anokai going to be faced up with a Blackbeard, trying to get some control back towards library side of the map, although the attack, they're making quick work of this one here. You see here, mezzanine wall is going to be ripped wide open, and minute 20 left on the clock. The attacker already starting to circle up, thinking about an execute for this one.
It's a sour number. A minute 20, a minute 10. All of a sudden, each second here is going to be counting. And right now, we're starting to get a bit more ground here in no offense. The attack looking a bit better. The breaches are out. And you've gotten your major points. And although with it, you've gotten a major lead when it comes down to player count. And it seems like QuQ right now are beating around the bush. As not only has fire been set loose, but it's flaming bright. And that fire's name is no offense. They have all players on the board. They have just kept up this position of strength. The powerhouse being let loose, and Ruz there finally returns it for one, but 3 players exchange for 1. That is not a gun worth it, and all of a sudden smoke's going out. You have no way of countering it. 1, maybe C4 going to be there for support, but one of your players is on the back lines on top trying to contest it. Kai does find 1. Schnitzy with a second. The C4 is there, but it gets denied by Gold. It's the end game, and no offense have regained some sort of ground posture and control. No verticality going to be used. Hacked Brava camps, absolute information, and you're working against 2 players. You're very limited here. The Doc may have stims, but he doesn't have support, and that's where Zero comes into the play as he puts him on 1. And no offense there with the opening round.
Yeah, and a bit of back and forth for utility there at the end. I mean, you said started around how impactful Brava can be. You saw it there. Gave the read on the road. Yet again, no offense, they saw an opportunity to just get into the objective. They knew there was still a player active, they knew that was question mark upstairs of Kai, and they decided to just take the gamble, give it a shot, and it ended up paying off. It was a little bit risky, it did get a little bit dicey, but you know what? Their first offensive round, it was pretty successful. They got it over the line, and for the side of QuQ, well, they're going to want to be giving Kitchen Dining another little bit of a go. See if they can get the recipe right this time around.
Last time it wasn't the best, right? I love the, the recipe. I just understood it now. You just can't stop this man. Trammy is on a roll right now. And well, I'm loving the switch. They saw the Twitch. They saw how strong the Brava was. We're going to be going a bit more to physical utility, less than technological. The Melusi is kept. The Mira still gets countered by the Twitch drone, but Frost, Doc, and Mute trying to deny that as much as possible, going in with those physical guns, trying to be as strong and raw as possible. Hopefully there's going to be more bite than there is bark, because transferring over from Cafe right now, you're on the defense, and although, yet again, this is a map, like we've mentioned and will probably mention many more times, that all teams know. It's like Clubhouse. There isn't a preferred site. The defense is still a lot more cozy. People come to you instead of you going to them, and it's just a lot more into your favor as Kai just barely escapes away by the skin of his teeth, and that docks him coming in oh so beautifully.
Oh, so beautiful. A really aggressive start from No Offense, just charging through Library, getting control of it really, really early on into this round. But as you can see, they're going to fall away from it a little bit for the time being at least, but they have to be cautious of the players upstairs towards that master position. You've got 3 of them up there, I believe, so there's a lot of utility placed up there, a lot of focus up there from QuQ, and I think that's where they're going to want to be changing things up a little bit. So more emphasis on the top floor. They want to be keeping players, not only that are up there, alive longer. That's where the dock comes into play there. You saw that Kai took so much damage, able to stim it up, back away, like nothing really had happened now. Where, no offense, well, it was a good start. They almost got a player. That's complete. All that work's been completely undone for them now. They're halfway through the round, and where it was a very, very quick start, it's sort of slowed down just a little bit here. Thermite's going to start to make some work on some of this hard breach. But here comes Rustin. Yellowfin onto the player, not quite able to catch the mark. Instead, it's a player from the bedroom to strange and fire backwards, force him away from that one just for a little bit. And the only concern here is the time. Minute 15 on the round now. This attack, it needs to get a move on quickly. It's 5 versus 5. Going for a really quick, aggressive peek on towards the player. Firing outside in the balcony. And you can see here Kai as well on the long angle with the MP5 ACOG. Does a little bit of damage, takes a little bit in return. Here's a great opportunity to get so much use out of the dog. Only heals Drake, able to heal themselves. And oh my god, there's a Blackbeard close. Fur is going to fall. No offense, they get the opening pick. 50 seconds left on the round.
There. What happened there? Why are we pushing a Blackbeard while 3 players are on the same ground level, having many angles to take you from? I'm loving how QuQ have changed up. They've adapted and almost overcome, but we're not at that point yet. The Blackbeard now taking, again, that upfront position where he can fight off anyone trying to push Solarium. Trophy, push them all down, back into sight, shell them in, tuck them nicely, and then burn them alive, because that's the price they're going to be paying for making that wrong mistake. You had ground, you had a player, you had some sort of element of surprise, but you lost it like that. As sudden as it can be, and that's where it just begins escalating down. No Offense having a go at it, and QuQ right now leaving it down to the final. Poor Mute, the sole survivor, standing alone, bottom floor, nothing to fight for it. The plant is there, the Blackbeard, like the Kool-Aid man he comes, and like Kesko from behind, it's a flawless going into the favor of No Offense.
Oh, I mean, that one was brutal from No Offense. A really great round played from them there. Knew when to dial up the aggression, knew when to turn the heat down a little bit. They are on fire these first 2 rounds here on Chalet. Really great lead on the attacking side. And both attempts at kitchen dining really haven't worked out for QuQ. And just off a little side note there, all 3 stims used to bring a player up from below 25% HP back up to full. But that's the most I've ever seen utility-wise out of a dock in a competitive match. Like, it's one that I've casted. It's not a very common sight, is it? You get that dot. You might get 1 stim out of him, but to get all 3 effectively used in the round,
Yeah.
unfortunately wasn't enough for QuQ still, though. No offense, 2-0 up.
2-0 up. It's a different result than we've been seeing earlier. QuQ were definitely on the defensive earlier, onto Cafe, or rather on the attack first, and were having themselves a blast. They were having the 4-2 first half, they were strong, they were dominant, No Offense couldn't put up much of a fight, and it seems like they were in the underdog position. Be that as it may, the tables have been flipped, or rather the flips have been tabled, and QuQ right now 2-0 below. Right now, if I were in their shoes, I'd want to have a step round, back to back, 4 in a row if we want to have ourselves somewhat of a positive first half. A 4-2 is definitely good. A 3-3 is understandable, but leaning in towards you being on the attack with a 4-2 facing you, that's where it really starts kicking in. The realization being a bit more heavy than it is to be intended. And in the meanwhile, Library is going to be the main focus. Verticality is needed, and top floors where No Offense take their initiative.
Exactly, so Kodov, they're looking to make a little bit of backstab happen here from Piano with the assistance of Kesko. No Offense just sort of swarming over this top floor, circling those Library players in. They're going to try and catch maybe 1, possibly even 2 of them. There's 4 playing around it upstairs by Library, by that mezzanine. So a lot of emphasis placed up there by QuQ. No Offense, even if they're able to get a couple before the drop inevitably comes through, I'd say that's mission success for them. But earned a minute of the round already. Time is certainly starting to maybe factoring a little bit against it. Although Jake is going to be the first one to fall to Kesko. A second as well. Kodarth gets the pick on towards Kai, and things are going from bad to worse for QuQ. But Larry has something to say otherwise about that. Does get a pick, trading it back the other way. Shinitsi with one of their own makes things 3 versus 3. We're back even on the scoreboard, but the pressure is being applied. No offense. They do have players slightly all over the place for the time being. It's probably going to be a bit of a pause, bit slow down. Well, they just rotate the players around and put the resources where they're going to need them. The next point, still need to clear out these top 4 players on the side of QuQ. Of course, have a player playing on the backstairs behind that deployable shield. And I think that was third. Now fallen back down. QuQ, they've got a minute left to hold on. They've got a player below. Maybe Larry looking to get a little bit of a flank going here, and no offense, they're going to start to look to exploit this map control they've just been able to take.
Hopefully QuQ are going to be able to triumph when push comes to shove, as they need to sustain these 3 players while breaking down whatever Nofens has to offer. The Hibana, the Gridlock, and the Twitch. Full on HP, full on mental, and ready to absolutely emphasize the fact that they're ready to shoot and kill on sight. 40 seconds, this is where chaos unfolds. We're going to get amidst all of it, but as of current, still some small adjustments being made. Positions then and there, and as of current, you're running out of time, no offense. A push shot from Fair, and this is that aggression that we don't like to see. One's on top expecting you, Larry there to support you. In the meanwhile, the Wamai is being a great blunderance, retreats in time only to be dropped down on sight. The Gridlock there for a comical effect. 15 seconds, 2 on each side. We've dropped it to equalization time after time again. Once Connector playing behind Mira and Mira down. A huge rotation by Larry, and what is happening? The defuse is there. You need to deny it in time, and do you know where it is? Don't stop running. It's on your corner. The footholds are there, but you just can't find the opportunity as Gold gets a one of his own. The FAMAS comes out to thrive, and no offense, making QuQ look like a clown. What circus are we watching, Travi? This is absolutely what is happening?
I mean, you're in the 3 versus 3 in that round. All 3 players of QuQ, they're in wildly different positions. And the thing is, I mean, that track, that's really unfortunate. There's a single track sticker, and unfortunately that is the spot where you fall onto. That is really, really unfortunate there for QuQ. All 3 players there in the 3 versus 3, they're all isolated on their own. That can work very much against you, or that can work in your favour. In that situation, no offence, we're sort of able to pick them apart individually there. Larry going for a real risky long rotation, long flank. It just didn't work out there. The remaining defenders, they crumbled before anything could really happen from that flank, and got the plant down. No offence. They're looking really sharp here so far on Chalet. Really, really impressive for QuQ. This is the round where I think they really need to get this over the line here. You know, worried as it is, but it's salvageable. I think if you start to face a 4-0, it can start to stumble from there. It can start to be a 5-0, possibly even a 6-0, and suddenly things are looking really, really dicey for QuQ. This round has to go their way.
It has to, right? It really has to. Unless attack is some sort of mischievous wonder for both of these teams, I'm having no way of QuQ dropping it. What bothers me most is the potential. They have it. We know they can bring it out. They are a strong team. They have proven it time and time again. But the mistakes from the previous rounds were simply just not meant to happen. I mean, it's the fact that the long rotation was there. Right. We can still come out of it just by simply having a bit more movement. QuQ there, the final player, was walking with the SMG-11, a bit more confused where to head. All of a sudden, yes, you're amidst all of these options. You have infinite possibilities, and you have to take the right one. But QuQ have always been a gambler. They have always brought out the jackpot, and right now they're losing. They're being put into debt, not only by money-wise, not only by round count, but your player, your main dock is taken out. They're finally getting a bit of drawback, and in the meanwhile, the flank coming out onto the Blackbear. He has no clue what's happening. The shank to confuse, combobulation, and all of a sudden, you have yourself a lead. Now play off of it, please.
Please do. Please take this advantage you've got and work with it, QuQ. You've got a minute 40 seconds left to hold on here, so it's still over half the round to go for the attack, but that may not be all we need. Now down, reduced to 2. No offense. What can Zero and Russen get going? They've got just under half the round now to play with. The defense still in control of most of the power positions here. Jake on the roam, on the runabout, looking for it, and no doubt Russen Going to be the next one to fall. It's all down to 0 left outside, and a 1 versus 4 makes it a 1 versus 3. Beautiful shot on towards Schnitzy, but it's going to need a little bit more than that. QuQ, they found the recipe, they're reading it, but is it the right one for success? That is the remaining question. Peeking the player out towards Mudroom. And 0, how do they play the remainder of this round? 55 seconds now. Going to opt to go for a rotate, head towards west. Go in through dining, go for a horizontal push, but there's the default camera. Still up, still active, it's going to be red. QuQ know what's coming. They've seen the script before. They know how to play this one. They've got a good cross here, on towards the player, approaching the hallway, and all they have to do is not give him 3 1 versus 1s. That they will not. Jake will close it out, and I said it was a recipe, they'd found it. Recipe for success it is indeed, as they get themselves the first round, and when it was needed, they can do it, but it's still a long road before things equalise here on Chalet.
It's a long road, but no one's race has been ran. Again, QuQ, they win these 2 rounds, there's a possibility. There is definitely a possibility, and it's just not their final destination yet. They have not found that last push. Hopefully they can get it in these 2 rounds, but the defense matters because you have the map in your favor. Keep that in mind. This entire map doesn't work off of the fact that you try and get kills onto players, onto enemies, and try and just work off of each other. Use the map. It's yours. You're the defender. Play off of it. No offense, on the other hand, they've been doing wonderfully in the first 3 rounds. We have to give credit. They've been punishing QuQ for their wrong mistakes, and you just need to find those small gaps and punish them longer. Because right now, in this previous round, what we saw is the fact that there were some openings. It just didn't take them because there simply wasn't large enough of a escape way. Hopefully we can see it a bit more. Taking a look at the lineup, this time the Ashe won't be banned, so Russ definitely was going to be a bit more happy to it, but the Flores switch is going to be definitely a lot more than considered. The Jackal on QuQ, interesting to see, especially with this site, but in the end, Roam here is going to be great. The Melusi would have been nice to spot, but I love the fact that we're trying to push away the Doc pick.
That's it, with that Doc pick, it's such one of these operators where, sure, we saw a round where you got 3 uses out of it, really great usage out of the Doc, but that is so rare. That is a dime a dozen, that doesn't happen very often. Realistically, when you're looking at an operator, you want to bring something that you're going to be able to consistently get use out of. You're going to be wanting to bring something that I'm guaranteed to have an effect in this round. You know, you bring the Goyo, you've got those 4 Vulcan canisters. Very rarely does a round go by where those Vulcan canisters don't even slow down the attack, even if it's for 5-10 seconds. But early start, it's a run out, and it's the hard breach taken out, no less. 0's gonna fall. Jake's gonna get an absolute freebie.
Oh no!
A minute into the round, and if there's an operator you don't want to be losing when you're limiting what hard breach you're bringing, it's going to be the ace. And second pick, I'd probably say you don't want to lose your shield. You don't want to be losing your Blackbeard. Sure, they're able to down fair, but still possibly even recoverable here. Kai looking to make sure this revive is able to come through. That QuQ can play this one from a 5 versus 3 position, and no offense, they're going to need something to really get themselves back into this round here, as Kesko tries to deny off the rotate, as we've seen QuQ play so many times before. But with the hard breach lost, Diffuser cold out by the front door, I'm really struggling to find a way for QuQ to not lose this round, not win this round.
Holy! Prioritization picks being the silver bullet, to no offense, as QuQ have taken the hard breach and the shield both, and in the meanwhile they just don't stop. No breaks, second gear, we find the shotgun on the kill feed. You missed those shots, and Jake is gonna be there to punish you for it. Runs away into the other corner. It's a game of tag. Pings are coming out, but you have a pistol. In the end, he spots you out, baiting you out, wasting your time, and all of a sudden Gold has found himself in a very silver-like position. Russ low on HP. You're up against all odds, and Gold has taken so much time just to take out this one Vigil. It would have been quite comical to see the defenders get out alive with a kill, yet nonetheless. But the floors, the Twitch, 2-4. And these are not numbers they like to see, but it's huge for QuQ, and they look to make it larger. They want to make this ratio not from 4-2, they want to make it 4-1, and so they do with the help of Fair, who has been in an absolute spree. He has been the back carrier for the entirety of this match. He's peeked out, he's gotten a kill onto the Blackbeard. In the meanwhile, also Jake for the starter to completely throw them off guard. The final 10 seconds, you have nothing left to do, as Larry there with a run out, and these secondaries, the SMGs have been absolutely dominant.
Yeah, dominating with those secondaries. I mean, you look down there towards that small garage, you look towards the Vigil and the Twitch having their little dance. Regardless of, you're in a 2 versus 4 at that situation. If you've got one player, you can say, hey, I've got one in bottom garage. I mean, we look towards this run out and really was the one that started the fire here for QuQ. It's the one that got them going. It's got them the opener into that round, and no offense, well, that 3-0 lead that we saw from them is suddenly, just ever so slightly, I won't say slipping away, but it's definitely not looking as bleak as it once did for QuQ. Now, they're going to be attempting kitchen dining yet again. They brought this one so quite a few times, not to much success. So they're going to have to make sure it works here. I believe this will be the 4th attempt for it. They're going to have to make it work here, or otherwise, well, they will be going down into the second half 4-2, but QuQ, I think they've got a perfect opportunity here to make this one a 3-3 and make it an even half and bring themselves really back into this game.
Interesting to see that both of these teams despise the bottom floor, which is a common occurrence, don't get me wrong, but playing it a bit more to experimentation, especially in these earlier rounds, and maybe even with a Tuberal that's right now on board and a Bandit combination, it's not something that people want to work with. And again, it's a huge workload, that bottom floor, right? So definitely kitchen is going to be better, but at the same time, we've made the largest mistakes here at QuQ, and we have not seen a single win from it. Top floor, maybe you've had some ground on it, but you lose it just as quick. But this time around, Jake is playing a bit more devious, gets drones, clears out, and in the meanwhile puts that fear factor, that extra point into no offense to constantly keep him on the lookout, because when you take a step into the building, you just don't want to see him swinging. And Larry, we don't want to see you swinging. He's down, not finished through. Interesting way of having it, as it's the drone hole to deliver some extra bullets, and that's just quite unfortunate. But no offense, really taking the nooks and crannies and putting some effort into them, while in the meanwhile, Daft is going to be finishing the poor Mute. He's made himself into trophy, and he's made it quite comfortable. Feel yourself at home. The Blackbeard is coming. All of a sudden, Jake with another run out. He gets away with it the second time. Lightning strikes, and in the meanwhile, the Blackbeard has gotten so much contention that at this point, QuQ, they have not found the way to kind of regain it. They only need to play off of what they have, and beggars can't be choosers, because Daft is the one choosing, punishing, being the guillotine, the last one standing. Jake, such a dominant force, but in the meanwhile, while you're losing bullets, losing gunfights, and giving off information as essential as this, the post plan comes out. You're now in a rough spot that you just can't get out of. Backed up into a wall, it's a great headshot, but 38 seconds, reserve 7 for the defuse. It's a lot to work against, and many players to put you on that backbone. You really need to work yourself to that one. The good luck tracks yet again are going to be the bearer of bad news. You get yourself a nice impact, but you don't know which hole to look at, as QuQ comes out with the super shorty, and he puts you on the short end of the stick. QuQ there, 4-2, just couldn't pull it through, and oh my god, Travi, they are not having themselves a good run on this kitchen side.
Not at all. It's almost poetic, isn't it? The team that are called QuQ, which objective are they struggling with most? It's the kitchen of all the objectives on this map. That's where they're struggling the most. 4 attempts made, 4 failed attempts. As the halves flip, no offense, all 4 rounds that they won in that half were on that kitchen bomb site. The minute QuQ decide we're not going to play 12 Brandon, they start winning rounds. But every time they come back to that kitchen, the death, the doom, it's already written on the walls, it feels like. No offense, they're going to be trying the kitchen one as well. I suppose we'll wait to see whether it's the curse of the QuQ, or whether this kitchen, perhaps just maybe the food and it's not that great. We'll have to wait and see for the defensive side. The Vulcan canister going to get burned early in the prep phase. That's a bit of an unfortunate loss of utility there for the defensive team as well. We head towards round number 7. No offense, definitely in the advantage, in the driving seat so far this matchup. 4-2 on your attack of Chalet. That's pretty good stat line, pretty good start to this game. Warmed into it much quicker than they did on Cafe, and if they can keep this momentum up, I've got a feeling we might be seeing a map 3.
I'm scared here. I'm very terrified, Travi, and let me tell you why that is. They have a Bandit and Tuberal, which are going to be mainly prioritizing on main breach, right? You put a player or 2 upstairs, then only one player is left for a trophy or anywhere else, which means that No Offense have right now dedicated a lot of utility to that main breach, which is going to be allowing QuQ to have themselves quite easy ground. And this is what I talk about. There's not real pressure. In the meanwhile, Blackbeard is feeling some of it. It's only the starter, though. This Lesion, go Daft, hopefully you're going to be able to carry it, because Zero's already taken out the board. That's one roamer less, and one of them is even remaining towards bathroom, so you're left alone against the Shield, who's hungry for some bullets, hungry for some blood. In the opening blood, the first blood has already been delivered. Now you're just waiting for a bit of a response here from No Offense. They've lost the Bandit, and the two rounds only going to be able to stall out as much as possible, right? But in the meanwhile, Blackbeard taking heavy damage, and Kesko delivering the coup de grace to him, as all of a sudden he himself is being tracked down. Attempted murder, but in the meanwhile, QuQ not being able to deliver, rather being the ones on the receiving end, as finally they get it down, but it's not finished, right? This execution is lacking, and QuQ, they're not going for verticality. Why are they not playing into the strengths of this site?
They're not at all. They've just kind of decided we're just going to go into the objective. 3 players they've had in the objective. The first one's full, the second one's full, and third may be able to get an exit pick on towards that down player, but getting any more from here, you're cornered in, you've got players horizontally pressuring you, you've got players from above. QuQ, you've worked your way into the objective, great, but you've worked your way into what's really a death trap that No Offense are more than happy to play into here. Kit is cold, should be recoverable, but 1 versus 3, it's going to have to be a monumental slip up here from No Offense, as QuQ, their woes on this objective seem to be continuing. It's going to be making an attempt on the defuse. Sound Q, though, will likely be heard, calls will be made, and you can see that No Offense, they're rotating, they're making the movements, but they're not giving anything away. They're not playing into what Fur wants them to do, which is just give 1 versus 1s. They're going to continue to open up to vertical. Russen watching the flank, just in case anyone gets an idea from Trophy and Fur. Got 45 seconds, decent amount of time to still play this one. It's going to be going down. It might actually be stuck here, but no. Just at the last second, has to swing the close angle onto West Stairs with the assault rifle. But Russen's good for it. Finds to confirm all the way from above. And that's the teamwork that you find yourself going up against in a site, in a situation like that. QuQ, they took sight, but I think once they hit that hurdle, it was, what do we do from there?
Travi.
Yes.
4 rounds on Kitchen.
4 rounds.
Lost by QuQ. Can
5.
it get any more ironic? And at the same time, I love how when they're on the defensive side, they lose verticality so easily, but when they're on the attack, they don't even bother going for it. Yeah. Make it make sense, because I can't, and as much as I'm loving the horizontal approach at certain times, it certainly isn't the time to do so. No Offense, 3 rounds above QuQ, which are right now being cooked.
Absolute.
Absolute cinema. I was waiting to say that for so long.
You finally got it out.
It's out of the system now.
It's out of the system. I mean, are the food puns ever going to stop?
Definitely not.
No. It keeps things saucy.
Oh
Gotta keep up with the food and the kitchen puns. As we head here, round number 8. No Offense, 2 away from taking their opponent's map pick. That kind of reversal. It's not all too often we see it. Or it is often we fairly see it nowadays, to be fair. Sometimes in these best of 3s, the opponents steal the other's map pick from each other. Something that does happen on occasion. We see it quite a little bit. Here, QuQ, well, early round, they're going to be changing up the operator lineup, going with a Blitz, going with a Ying and a Grim as well. This one screams to me. They want to get aggressive. They want to get that execute going. And sure, but it's a different type. Sure, I'll give it them credit to that. But what happened last time? You sort of worked with the execute. You got it going. But then where do you go from there? Unfortunately, the execute, Larry's going to go down before that, though. Schnitzy, though, does make it even. Player in towards Barda's fall. But what's this? QuQ, they explode onto the kill feed, though. Daft explodes right back. Triple on the round. Now left in 1 versus 2. QuQ, this is the closest they've been in a little while. And through the wall, Jake closes it out. And I mean, that was a very speedy round there. Dialing the heat all the way up. And QuQ, they answer back.
Well, that's certainly a way to season things up. QuQ right now going off of Carnage alone, making Graveyard and putting people in at 6 foot under, and in the meanwhile, No Offense do just as good. From 5 to 5, 3 to 3, 2 to 2, and we count it down after down. 5 to 3 is the initial score we right now have going into round number 9 on the score count. Rounds looking quite daring for QuQ. But right now, they're taking up the dare, they're picking it up, and they're throwing it right back into No Offense's face. I love the fact that QuQ right now, they get the opening, right? No Offense.
Yeah.
They respond quite good. That double kill, it was nasty work. But in the end, they just don't care. They bring the Armageddon in. They start popping heads just even stronger. And that was a sort of inspiration. These losing rounds have really been pushing them to limits and beyond. As of right now, though, that's just one round. One round, an exceptional one of that. And this time, if QuQ don't keep it up like a tempo, a bit of a symphony, they're going to start losing the composure again. Mental is going to be a bit more down. They're not going to be feeling that groove like they did on Cafe. And, well, No Offense is going to be the ones to rather than going to be giving. And, well, QuQ right now are definitely having themselves a bit of an issue, but to spice things up, we're just going to have to see how this unfolds.
Exactly so. How does the remainder of this map unfold? It is a big question mark floating in the air. I mean, QuQ there, they've just proved they can do it. They can not only be quick, they can be aggressive, and they can be authoritative in these decisions. They make the calls, they make the plays, and they make them with a level of confidence that you don't often see from teams that are 5-2 down, but that's what makes it work for them. Early engagement outside towards Trophy. Solari inside these top four players. Daft, under a lot of pressure, sees the player outside on the roof, but instead takes a lot of damage from them. Caught out yet again from the outside, and Daft can't seem to escape the pain at the minute. QuQ, get the player onto low HP. Good start to the round, but we're a minute in and we want to start seeing some progress. They can start seeing some control. There is that player in library that's preventing the run-in from Kai. They have to be able to get Daft down. They have to try and put a pause, assess how they want to play as well. Get the players into the correct position now. Vulcan Canisters continuing to burn away the time of the attackers. Here, hard breach as well, starting to make its mark, make its work happen. Start to make the magic, but yet again, No Offense, they've been able to get mostly away from this roam with all 5 players still standing. Sure, some worse for wear than others, and that's exactly what QuQ needed. First pick goes their way. Zero's going to fall. With a player as well, lower HP for No Offense. Minute 20 on the clock. Russell answers back with 1. But Kai immediately shuts it down, and QuQ, they remain in the advantage for this round.
They definitely do. When one falls, another is sure to follow. And while no Taft does get picked up, that HP isn't going to be too comfortable leading in towards any gunfight. Gold definitely having himself an opportunity to peek up, but isn't going to be finding himself to stick around and find out. Find out he does, and it's not a good result he gets. Pushing up to finish the job, he's down. The Fenrir there to blind, but Fen shoots blindly. His 6th sense kicking in. QuQ quick on that move. He goes for the rotation, can't connect too well, but Daft coming in aggressive more than ever as he finds the double with the Vector. Kai still on a triple, looking to rock that quad any second. Peeks out, but that's the greatest mistake made by the side of QuQ. It's a down onto the Ash, and the floor's last one to stand. Empty-handed, no teammate down. It could be a bait or switch, whatever you want to call it. No Offense right now, working off of time and time alone. The fuser isn't in their hands, and they need to work themselves off of it. Verticality challenged by both. They need to hold it and play it well because the Goyo peeks out. Both are looking quite dire on the situation, but there's not much to go off of. Where's the diffuser? Oh, Daft finishes him. Finds your foot, and in the meanwhile, the diffuser on top floor. It's a drop from the Goyo. A very decisive move from Daft, but not expected by the Flores. What is this chaos that we're witnessing? QuQ once in a lifetime, but the opportunity slipped, and No Offense right now with round 6 going towards match point.
That drop may have been the smartest or the stupidest thing I've ever seen. You have time, you have upstairs in library. All you need to do is survive. And you jump down to try and go and get the kill there. Daft really wanting that one, really wanting their 14th kill so far here on Chalet. Does get it, does succeed, gets the quad. A beautiful, amazing clutch, but so risky. But can't fault it. Can you in the slightest? You cannot fault that one. It's successful for the defensive side. No Offense, they now find themselves 6-3 up, and I don't know if QuQ in that round knew that Daft was still playing in live. I've got a feeling they weren't aware of that player, and that's where the big backstab was able to come in. No Offense really dialing up the pressure towards the mid-late stages of that round, and QuQ, they hit the execute and they just kind of fall apart a little bit, as maybe we've seen from them once or twice so far.
That was chaos. I mean, in the end, even some sort of salt on the wound to kick a man while he's down. The fact that you allowed the Goyo to sneak up top, get that double while the diffuser is there alongside it, while the drop not being initiated with the mute having all information on him. Yes, the Goyo could be sticking around somewhere, pool, gaming, bar, wherever he may be. You really don't want to leave the ace to a 1v1 situation. You had also a player dead or two, have him hold a flank, whatever it may be. There's probably some sort of general information or details that gave off the fact that the last two players were probably going to be around side and not Solarium side, which QuQ in the end, they absolutely got away with it. They had such a dominant position, but they crushed it. The pillar was destroyed right beneath their feet, and they slipped into this void. A 1v1 situation, a 2v1, transferred back to a 1v1, which is now into this round point, which is going to be match point, over to match point. Again, 45 for QuQ here. They're looking good at the start, but I'm just scared that they aren't able to keep it up, as Zero is there to prove my point.
Yeah, I guess keeping it up is going to be the challenge here. You've got the advantage, but you really need to be able to make it work. I mean, we saw the previous time this objective was played for QuQ. They stormed right into the objective on their attack. They stormed in there, and then they kind of hit a question mark. Right, what now? We don't have vertical control, and they've not brought any operators that would be able to deal with that vertical. Realistically, the only one that was the Ash, and that was Schnitzy. Now in the grave, as is Larry, and it's a 4 versus 2. Fur and Jake are all out of left standing. No offense, just cooking through QuQ so far on this map, frying them up, serving them on a platter. Minute 22 left for the attackers to try and recover this one. They're in a 4 versus 2, so they're going to have to get 2 apiece on average if they're going to want to get this one over the line. Minute 15, clock's ticking away. Defense, they know the position, they know where the players are coming from. They have vertical locked down. They don't need to swing. They don't need to give anything away. I mean, that's not going to stop Zero from wanting to get a little bit more. Has the yellow thing on towards the player, but gets caught out, gets punished, and Fur looking to make this one work for the side of QuQ here, but no, going to get caught out by the vertical. That's neglected yet again. Cold closes it out, and QuQ, 6 times Kitchen was played in that map. 6 times it was lost. No offense, making Chalet, making Kitchen look like a piece of cake. They get themselves their opponent's map pick. We go into map 3 for the first time here in Season 10. And no offense, we've talked about it a couple of times so far on this broadcast. We've talked about it a bit. No offense, have a massively better track record when it comes to Nighthaven Labs. And if you're QuQ, starting to get a little bit worried.
Well, we've talked about it, but at this point, I can't expect anything from Nighthaven. I could not put up a prediction at this point, but these matches were so out of bounds, out of the box thinking at times, and even questionable that in the end we have had the results that we would not expect. The map that was picked by QuQ's taken by No Offense, and the map picked by No Offense taken by QuQ. Although Chalet could have been anyone's game, Cafe doesn't seem like it. But now we're down to Nighthaven Labs, where I'm feeling that No Offense themselves are already right now just rubbing their hands together, hoping that this is going to be a quick 7-0, but I doubt that that's going to be the case. Like I said, things have really been turning. The fate hasn't been going in anyone's direction, and well, Nighthaven's about to be in, and Travi, I'm excited for it.
I'm excited for it as well. I think QuQ, they've shown, even there on Chalet, they did lose it, sure. It was that one objective. I'm just going to put it down to that one Kitchen objective. Just don't pick Kitchen on Labs and you'll probably be fine. All you got to do is take what worked in those couple of rounds that you did win and repeat. For QuQ, I think they're still in this one. Sure, history might say otherwise. I'm a bit worried, but they certainly can do it. What we're going to do is we're going to toss it to a quick break. So grab a snack, maybe go and cook yourself up a little bit of a snack as QuQ look to cook up some things here on Nighthaven Labs. We'll be back with map number 3 in just a few, so don't go anywhere. And welcome back on in, folks. For the first time here in season number 10, we're going to be hitting towards a 3rd map. We're going to need all 3 to decide how things are going here between No Offense and QuQ. And well, it's not been the match we've expected it to be so far, has it really?
It hasn't, and it's not in a negative side of things, but it's more like we're trying to find which team is actually doing what and what they actually like. You know, at times they're good on defense. all of the next second they're good on attack, and then it just switches roles. Same goes with maps. I mean, it seems like Cafe is really a pick for for QuQ, not no offense. But now we're off to Nighthaven, and well, there's a very major aspect of who it could be leaning in towards, Travi, and why is that?
Yeah, so we did a little bit of digging before this match came through, and one of no offense, sorry, one of their favourite maps to play, one of their fourth preference maps in terms of matches played on it, is actually Nighthaven Labs. They've played it 7 times in recent history, 5-2 up currently on it. On the side of Team QuQ, is one of the maps they typically do tend to ban out. I believe it's their tied 4th most popular ban. They've played it once and they've lost it once. So in terms of preference, this one definitely leans the way of no offense. And I think now they've gotten it to 1-1, on paper at least, they're definitely in the favoured position for this match. But based on what we've seen so far, this match has really been anything but what's on paper.
It's been off paper. It's been just spilled on the ground. We're trying to really pick it back up. But as for now, I mean, it's Nighthaven. It's one of the more recent maps, if we go by how lately maps have been added, and in the meanwhile, I think it's one of the more favored ones. I think people have really been growing on Nighthaven. Nighthaven itself has been growing onto players as we slowly head into round number 1. This is where it gets down to main breach denial and main breach control, but also do not take into account or out of account, please, QuQ, do not take out of account verticality, especially when you're playing kitchen if we do end up going towards it. Hopefully that's not going to be the catalyst that no offense work off of. We're towards these bans, and from my side, again, I'm expecting Blackbeard. Because it was played and it was strong on no offense previously. On Shally, no offense really took away with it.
Yeah, they definitely ran away with it, and well, that's a bit of a curveball with a little bit of an operator ban. I can see the idea with how important walls and hard breach play on Nighthaven Labs. Maverick is a fair operator ban. You want to take that out. He can get them open almost silently. He can open these little murder holes that you don't realise are there, and then they cause a massive catastrophe. I can get why you want to get rid of them. Bit of a curveball with the operator bans, as I said, but there it goes through. Blackbeard is going to be banned out. Finally chosen to put him in the bin. It's the first, considering how these teams normally like to ban the shields, it's the first shield ban I believe we've seen all matchups so far. And, well, defensive bans, let's see how they pan out.
Ooh, that's interesting. I feel like I can get behind it. Again, this is a map that has a similar type of lineup when it comes down to comparing it to Clubhouse. I can definitely compare it a bit more to Clubhouse because main breach, again, on IT, on connector, on bottom nano, you have bottom side, you have all sides are really dependent not only off of hatches, but at the same time, main breach itself, which Tubarao is a perfect counter to. You have an ace, you have a thermite, Habana, there's a bandit tricker, a K tricker, whatever, the Tubarao is going to be there to make sure they are enhanced tenfold. In the meanwhile, for the last ban, it is a sort of curveball similar to Maverick, but there's also an idea to get behind because this is probably one of the best maps Clash can be used on.
Shields across the board, not just Clash, but across the board, they're really powerful on Nighthaven Labs. So many great positions that you can either hold on to or take really quickly just by having that giant sheet of metal in your face. So QuQ, on their side of things, I believe the bans really are leaning much more perhaps towards the map, as a general rule of thumb, than the opponent they're playing, which in a sense may lean perhaps maybe where they're uncomfortable on this map. They want to focus on things that make Nighthaven unique as a map. They want to take those factors to try and make this one play as by the book, sort of as standardly as Siege gets. I mean, Siege is a wild game. Rarely does it ever go to plan. But by taking out those X-Factor operators that really shine on Nighthaven Labs, maybe they're trying to even the playing field a little bit. Perhaps that's the way they're going about it. I suppose we'll have to wait and see how things play out. Command and Serve are going to be starting defensive here for no offense. And, well, it's a fairly standard operator line. They've got the Bandit on the board, of course, to deny those walls. Kaid is left open, but isn't going to be picked in towards here. Of course, he's unable to really do a lot of tricking on his own, Kaid, because, of course, he needs someone like Tubarao on the board to slow the hard breach down. But guess what? Tubarao's been banned out, so you're going to have to be sticking with the Bandit for the time being. And, well, for the side of QuQ, they're leaning in towards that shield.
Shotgun there, Gold, you're playing up. for chances to be taken, and they're not looking good in your favor. Thatcher going to be on big containers, and he's looking to watch out for that run out as Gold has learned his lesson. But in the meanwhile, double breach, the bandit simply won't be there to stick it. And although got one, but the Selmas are still going off. And in the meanwhile, he could have actually found that little gap, but fair with the opening. Great way to start off, and that's fragmentation leaning in yet again towards QuQ, as No Offense have taken out the Fenrir, but they themselves have lost out on the Ash, which isn't going to be as great of an asset, but still a player down.
Exactly so, and a player going down. I mean, one thing I was about to say is those FNAT mines, when you go down, you can no longer change which ones are active, so it's really a bit of luck of draw on whether you had the read as to where the attackers were coming from, so the correct mines are activated. Seems like at least the one on Rafters, it was active when Daft went down, so on the positive side, that one will remain active at least until it's shot out in towards the round. It's going to have to be a player's gun to do that because no drones that can take it out on the side of QuQ. 4 versus 4 now to approach the halfway point of the round. Bit of a scrap early on to start things, but things have slowed right down since then. Of course, IT completely lost by the bandit, unable to take control of it as Jake uses that ground gained by the attacking team, dancing close with the shotgun. Gold finds one, trades it back, goes for the run out, but the call out was made. Jake's able to deny it. Burr with a double of their own, and it's all down left to Russen. Is able to find one, but it's going to need to be a little bit more than that if No Offense want to get this one over the line. They see the Montaigne, they have the idea where the last player is, may actually be able to lock them out using that Vulcan canister. Just finds the player anyway, and now you're stuck in a 1 versus 1 with a shield. Keep your distance. Schnitzy needs to be able to keep this one under control. But no, is it going to be able to? And Russen able to get the clutch in the first round when it was looking unlikely. It's going the way of No Offense.
That's what I say. Unexpected turns is what we can expect, right? We can expect the unexpected. That's the least we can do when it comes to both of these teams, and it's fantastic to see. QuQ there with such a great start. 4-3. In the end, you have the lead, but all of a sudden, one of your own players from No Offense gets a bit too greedy, but you still back up on it. You still fight against it, and in a 1v3, No Offense thrive. Find greatness, and Russ with that Vector, it may be a pea shooter, okay? But just imagine those peas being made out of pure titanium because he was popping heads right there. The Monty not being played correctly, Fair peeking out for no reason. Could have been a pinch. A 1v1 against a Monty while one player is still on the back lines is so much pressure that at times it may be a bit too much to handle. But for now, as we see it in replay, No Offense take it away. And let me tell you, it is offense taken by QuQ, as that is the first round given over. A nice little overstep. We get some sort of balance between these two teams to see who has a bit more consistency and who in the end really falters when it comes down to 3v1s.
And those are the kind of rounds where you really can't be losing those. QuQ, the momentum's already against you. You've just lost your own map pick. You're now having to go to the side, when perhaps on Cafe, we were speaking more optimistically about them and how they've been playing so far. That script sort of flipped a little bit. You've just lost your own map pick, and that round really should have gone their way. But not to harp on it too long, of course. It's one round out of the grand scheme of things, which, you know, could be 15. We could be here a little while, so we're very, very early days yet. And I don't think the aggression there from No Offense is slowing down. You can see there Russ already dancing around, having a little bit of a think about how he wants to make a stamp on round 4 in the previous one, looking to get some more to their name. As QuQ, they're making quick control of this top floor. They're able to force all of the defenders away from it now, but I'm looking at the lineup of No Offense here. 4 C4s in pocket. The first switch is going to be thrown. It's going to miss his mark, but as not, you've got 3 more in pocket.
Well, you talk about C4s. I'm talking about absolutely blinding your enemies. QuQ right now going to be having No Offense on the blind side with 6 flashes, a blitz, and Schnitzy behind you. QuQ, you walk into the lion's den, and he bites down hard. You're the meat, and you're the prey. As Kodav, they're going to be hunting one for himself. All of a sudden, it's back down to this 4v4, and equalization has been quite common between these two teams, and they're great at exchanging out bullets. And then in the end, someone has to take a lead. Daft taking out so much utilization, but at the same time, being on such a priority for hunts. As Zero there joins along on it, and right now they're goose chasing. One left, finds a retaliation of 1. Kai gonna need a second one to be a bit more comfortable on your picks. The diffuser is top floor alone, trying to push down side stairs, and well, the 2v3 definitely not looking comfortable here for QuQ just yet.
No Offense as well. The players, they're able to isolate the players of QuQ. Really well done to do so. A triple in the round for Kodarth now, all down left to Jay. And well, would you look at that? Zero finds the final one, no offense. They find themselves the second round. They're looking really comfortable here on Nighthaven Labs. Sure, that first one, it was a little bit scrappier than maybe it should have been. Perhaps it shouldn't have gone down to that 1 versus 3, but it didn't matter. Not Russ was there when they were needed the most, and then, no offense, they sort of roll on that momentum that they gained with such a clutch like that. And here you can see here, Schnitzy, such a difficult position to play, but you've got to ask, where's the support? Where's the teammates there? Beautiful foot shot there from Kodarth to close it out, and obviously the player was on low HP anyway. But questions sort of maybe have to be raised a little bit. Need to be supporting these players. They need to be playing together. You can see here in the 4 versus 2, sure, there's a wave of no offense in between the two players of QuQ, but maybe that's when the opportunity should have been taken to back out, go around so you can play it together. Instead, giving them 2 individual 1 versus 1s. No offense, happy to play that way. Daft really lighting up. Russin as well. And no offense, I mean, they looked really good in that round, and I think they're going to move on in their 3rd.
They definitely do. No offense here, 2-0. It's looking like history is repeating itself. This is the exact score we had on Chalet. Dominant first 2. No offense, constantly coming out swinging, riding the wave as their guns carry them to victory. As QuQ, meanwhile, they don't know what to do. What do? We get an opening kill. That's great. But then we lose a player, we lose a second, a third. All of a sudden, it's down to a 2-4 where we have to work off of 1v1s, which no offense gladly take, but they're not ones to lose them, right? They're comfortable on their guns, and they definitely know what they're doing when pushing into them. And what better way to do that than to bring out max utilization of information as Pulse and Solus, both taken by the defensive to get that verticality and also complemented with their explosive playstyle. You talked about earlier 4C4s, now we have 3. Even with the Solus out, it still keeps the count. Schnitzy there, the LDD5, proving to be quite a difficult gun to fight against. But still, now we have so much to work with, as No Offense constantly have a tracker for QuQ that they have no idea about.
And I really like this Pulse pick to talk about here. One thing that QuQ's attacks have not really been, especially on Chalet, was they weren't very thorough. They were focusing on the objective, not often the verticality, not the floor above, and most importantly, not the floor below. If they don't realise that gold is down there playing below on that C4, not only can he then throw that C4 up from underneath and take down a player that's making a plant attempt, you've also got 2 more players that will either come down to support or be able to play it from the horizontal, make call-outs from the heartbeat scanner. QuQ, they need to be able to not only clear this top floor out, but they also need to clear out this player below, and they're not really seeming like they wanted to be going that way so far. Kind of just ignoring it. All the focus being paid towards this top floor, and they've gotten a player, sure. They've gotten 0 down to very much a sliver of HP, but immediately, no offense, they find a way back into the round. Russ with 2 is shut down, but it's 3 versus 3, and where things stand, keep an eye on gold. Player below in a good position. No offense. I've got a feeling it's now looking dicey. Kesko's all that's remaining on the objective. Minute on the clock. 2 versus 3. But gold below on that C4 can make it work. But that's relying on Kesko being able to waste more and more of the attacker's most precious resource. That, of course, being the time.
Oh. QuQ now passing on the caveat. No offense, don't know what to return with. The pulse may be great, but you're too late on the act. The shotgun complements the diffuse denial, but in the meanwhile, the boom comes out, and that's Gold finding himself 1 into the opening situation, but it's all closed down in front of him. Players down below, you have no clue where they're headed. They could be on your next step, or on the opposite side of the map, watching verticalities. With the time you have remaining, even with a pistol knife, pull out the knife if you can. It won't help you in speed. You have 20 seconds, reserve 7, but reserve Kai's bullets because they're landing right into your chrome dome. As QuQ win out the first round, it took him a bit to get there, but now they're starting to get warmed up, which honestly, we should have already seen in round number 1.
100%. Tertiary bomb site. I mean, they've gotten the tertiary over the line. They've finally gotten the attack. I mean, if they win the next tertiary, they come out of this half 2-4 down. Greatest of results, sure, but it's definitely workable for the side of QuQ. What I really want to see from them is one of the next 2 rounds. They either want to get the primary bomb site, which is going to be command and server, or they want to try and get the basement across the line. I mean, last time QuQ attacked this site, round number 1, it was so close, but they ended up throwing away a 3 versus 1 advantage that ended up costing them that round. So QuQ, they definitely can do it. They almost got there the previous time. They just have to get themselves into that closing position yet again and don't choke it on the final bite.
They can't, right? Again, so many puns about eating food and QuQ. It's well deserved. It's the we're seeing openings here right now, and we're definitely taking our spatulas and having a go at it. A bit of flipping, and it's right now 2-1. It's not the worst. First 3 rounds have gone by. By this point, it's a best of 3, and we're into the decider. I think both of these teams should have a rough idea of how the other plays and how you should be able to get into it as fast as possible. The pacing, though, from both of these teams has been quite inconsistent. 2 rounds, 3 rounds, then you lose a bit, you win some back. It's really how someone has some sort of run. Again, it's these openings, they don't determine anything. The utility operators don't seem to do that either, as both of these teams have been having completely different flows each and single round, which is interesting to see. For now, though, the Ash Charge is going to be missing out, which is absolutely catastrophical to see. The Bandit not there for the breach, Rust there for the opening, a C4 there not landing, no shrapnel there to damage, and all of a sudden, you have lost out on your Nomad, which is quite a valuable asset.
Exactly so, and so early on in the round to lose an operator like the Nomad. Know that she died with all of those air jabs in her pocket, really not being able to get in towards the building yet, to have an opportunity to place those downs on the flank positions, because to place them on a flanking position, you first have to take that ground, and QuQ, well, they weren't in a position to be able to do so just yet in the round, so she's going to be taking a lot of that utility to the grave with her, as Darth finds themselves in yet another really powerful position, critical for the round, but is shut down by Jake, another one for Fur, and, well, talked about spatulas, you might need one because this round has flipped on its head yet again. The attack, QuQ, now have the advantage. Oh, but Russ looking to change that, currently 7-1, almost a James Bond. No choice now, think but to run away, continuing to contest storage. Sees the player pushing up towards Russ, says he walks into a Frostbat, oh no! And things are now back, equalised. No one's really got the advantage here. Looking to get aggressive with the shotgun. Gold instead goes to throw the C4, catches it on the door frame. It does get shot out. So it's not going to make its mark into this round. But at the end of the day, you've got a minute left on the clock for the defensive here. QuQ, they're in a decent position, but they need to try and make this one work. And the issue as well is I think this defensive side, they have the strong positions right now. They have some really, really good spots to be in here. Gold playing close with the shotgun. All you need to do is get you one, which is what he's going to do. Pop the Vulcan canisters, you can get away. QuQ gets one of their own. Schnitzy, sure, takes one down, but in a 1 versus 2. We saw a 1 versus 3 the last time this site was played. It's now going to have to go the other way if QuQ want to try and get this one across the line. Is Schnitzy going to be able to do it? Russ and Gold left standing have been brilliant all games so far. 11 kills combined between them, and in 4 rounds, that's no small feat. They're looking to make it a 12. They know where the player is. They're cornering. You can see on either side, no clue where to look. Schnitzy, dead man, walking at this point. Gonna go towards the player. Gonna go for a close angle. Just goes for the drop shot. Does find it, but there you go. Gold is good on the trade. Finds it. No offense, they take themselves a 3rd round, and it's close yet again on the top floor, but doesn't matter how close the round is. At the end of the day, they won the round.
BO3 being the leading switch for No Offense to take it into their own accord. QuQ now dropping the ball harder than ever yet again. We had a 4-3. We had so much to work with. The only thing that No Offense were trying to find themselves a grasp over were these QuQ canisters and close-up shotgun shots, which Gold took into consideration, but QuQ themselves did not. They were playing close against both operators that really find themselves to have worth off of it, and in the end, QuQ, they didn't work off of each other. One peeks alone into the side towards Pillar from IT. Of course, No Offense are going to be trying to take those gunfights. Of course, because that's the only way of them winning it out. And that's exactly how they executed on Standstill. QuQ on the other side, they have some sort of lead, but they don't know what to do with it. Play off of your players, be it a refrag game or be it a a fact of you just going in, rushing, trying to find these kills, the final two, to pressure them out of their hiding spots. Whatever it is, you had some time. You just didn't really have the thought process. Hopefully that changes. One round was yours. It was a good one at that, so let's have a repetition of it. 3-1 against you. They're on the defense, and no offense right now playing Nighthaven, they should have at least 4-2 if they want to have themselves a good run on the defense, because Nighthaven, this is not a map like Chalet. This is where defense definitely has the upper hand.
Defense, indeed. Defensive fortress across the entirety of Nighthaven Labs, really. And no offense, really putting that stat line to the test so far. But can't put it all down to the map, I don't think. As you mentioned, QuQ, I believe that was the second round now. They've had a really strong advantage, and they've gotten to that final hurdle point of, right, got an advantage. What do we do with it? How do we close this one out? And that's when they fall short. That's when they're unable to really, really put the finishing touches on the round. They get the opener. Russ falls, currently the highlight player in the lobby. And that's a good start for QuQ, but as the previous round proved, it doesn't really mean that much. They have to finish the round as they started it. And no offense, well, they find themselves a man down, make it a second man down as Schnitzy finds another pick. Minute 45 left on the clock, and QuQ looking good in this one.
One of the players have found themselves in kitchen, which is never a good sign for QuQ, ironically, but no offense in the meanwhile, being the ones to be cooked on stove. Right now they're burning. They're burning bright, and there is an extinguisher called QuQ right now on the line, ready to shut them down. 3-5. We've seen a 1v3 before, haven't we, Travi? And at this point, I'm not going to let it beat the chances. Hopefully QuQ don't either, and they're going to be playing this as safely as they possibly can, trying to track down any roamer, make sure the top floor is guaranteed. Well, the plant is going down. It is denied for a second. Frag shots, all is out. In the meanwhile, we do have the bandit quite low on HP, and he's trying to work himself to the bone to find any type of opening towards a kill or two. That's what no offense is working off of. Up close and personal is going to be daft. Again, that shotgun, really 12 gauge being put in, but 0 being put out, and an extinguisher just as a trade comes in. That's going to be no offense being left down to the final player, who's trying to have some sort of way around the top floor. It's a pickup in the end. 1v3 again. Verticality utilized, and you find it down onto the gridlock. That's going to be the diffuser. You get some extra shots towards the ram. The escape is given, and now you have to advance. It's such slow movement. It's walking, dropping. They have the sound cues. You're being held. You finished your job. You try to go for the pre-fire and A for effort, but that's all that there is. QuQ in the end still managed to get themselves a finally nice meal. And no offense, they lose out on a round because this is the one they should be looking to claim out, if nothing else.
Yeah, no offense, really should have gotten that round. I mean, the last time this objective was played, QuQ didn't even get near the basement. They were cut down mostly on the second floor. One or two, they might have escaped to the first floor, but they weren't there for long. The last time this site was played, no offense, had it locked down. This time around, though, QuQ, they find an opening and they decide to take it. And they leave a couple of players short, but with the massive man advantage that they had, they're able to close it out. They get the round. It doesn't end up going down, but at the end of the day, they've got the round, they've got it over the line. They get themselves 2, which said is probably what they need in this half. So for QuQ, they've done the job. Now they're going to be looking away for more. For no offense, I reckon the job still needs to be done. They still want to try and find themselves that 4th round. They're going to be giving basement yet another go. See if they can do so and operate a lineup. Why is it somewhat similar to what they sort of had before? QuQ not changing things too much up either, but certainly the round will not come out the same way as it has done this game. It's hard to call, hard to predict. And I think with that round going the way of QuQ, this one remains any man's game.
Oh, QuQ right now are just thinking of this 3-3 first split, right? They're dreaming of it. But can they have it be brought to fruition? That's the main question that's being put up right now, and we need more than just answers. We need acts. We need results. And QuQ right now putting up quite a quick one, or working their way towards it, as the Ram having themselves quite a nice early drone. The Boogie being put out, and the Woogie there just to make sure that verticality nicely established IT side. But no offense, still have coverage of it. They still have some sort of possession, and you need to make yourself comfortable on the second floor. Then it's down to first, and then it's down to bottom. It's a great ladder you need to climb down, but with each single step you take, it gets a lot more difficult. And with each single second that passes by, QuQ are losing out on time, as it's a virtue you really want to savor for now, because looking at No Offense's strategy, their roam is extremely heavy.
Yeah, so many players upstairs. They don't want to let QuQ take this one. It was the opening that we saw in the previous round where QuQ just saw a bit of an opening. They saw the remaining player was on top of all. They could just take basement, get in there, brute force the objective. So, no offense, they're going to have to not let the same mistake happen again. Unfortunately for them, Zero's going to be the first fall. Sure, Kodaf trades it back, Kesko with one as well. 4 versus 3, and yet again, the tables are flipped. Now QuQ find themselves in a disadvantaged situation. We're still trying to clear out this roam. The tag team on towards Kesko does finally work out. Kai confirms the kill, but Jake loses the life in the process. The remaining players of No Offense, I think they're just going to fall back towards the basement now and play this man advantage. They found themselves in with a minute 10 left on the round. Kai and Fur. I mean, they're two good operators that I'd say are probably quite useful in this situation. Of course, Gridlock, neither flank, can start to make a little bit of vertical work. Just has to be careful of those C4s. And of course, vertical work. Well, Ram's used all her boogie drones, but still, of course, has the R4C, a weapon that, as I'm sure everyone that's watching knows. If you know a little bit about Siege, you've been on the receiving end of an R4C before. It's truly one of the best weapons in the game. And No Offense, well, 35 seconds to go now. As the clock is ticking away, all 3 players playing on the objective, playing around this basement. Going to have to find an opening, not going to be able to do so. Kai does trade it back, but it's a triple in the round. Ace required if QuQ want to get this one over the line, get themselves the even half. Do they know about a second player? No, they do not. Gold swings, closes it out, and it's a 4-2 half. Perhaps the only thing that's been by the book this entire series. Defense, get the one round over the line, a couple extra that they're expected to. And now as things flip around, this is where it's do or die.
Reality kicks back in, and QuQ in the end end up having no catches of glimpse of the Mozzie in the corner of that line of sight. Having your eyes turned towards a different direction, patience would have been a bit more key when you're throwing those flashes. But what can you do when you're so uncautious? At the same time, so forced. And in the meanwhile, QuQ, the final 2 players, there was just too much to work off of. No Offense on their roam not only did what a roamer is supposed to do, which is going to be that time wasted, but in the end, they got an extra bit of spice in, not only with those kills, but again, that ground. They left so much utility left back on site that overall, No Offense had a golden match. But now we switch the turns. Now the roles have been reversed, and not only has the tempo been set a bit more differently, because both of these teams need to get a bit more used to Nighthaven defense and attack, vice versa it may be. As it currently still stands, No Offense are in the lead. So, although you may lose a round or two, make sure that there's some sort of learning curve that then you can extend off of into getting a round or 2 of your own.
Yeah, and here it comes. And out the entirety of this matchup, QuQ opting to get rid of Maverick instead on map number 3. And here he comes, Gerald Morris, Deimos. One of probably my favourite additions to game in recent times. Such a fun operator to play and be a bit annoying to play against. But really, really strong and in the right hands in a great team environment where you've got players pressuring the player that is Deathmark. He can be lethal. That 44 Vendetta does not hold anything back. Here, as you see, Russ and Fur dancing a little bit outside of the kitchen, but so far at least this match, well, kitchen's been a little bit of a bad omen for them. Going to try and get out of it. Fur, though, he's making it work in this one. Shuts down the Deimos before really an effect can be made on the round. Still alive here on the roam. Looking to get aggressive. Looking to go for a jump out on this player, but no, the rotation's been made. Russ is long gone by now. And keep in mind, a bit of a change up to what we normally see here on Labs is the primary basement's going to be the first site of choice here for the side of QuQ. See the player? Oh no, is Jake looking the wrong way? Oh, that was close. Really, really close, that one, but still walks away alive and lives to tell the tale. 3 players still standing on this top floor for the side of QuQ. Harry is positioning storage tucked away in a corner. Maybe able to make some magic work here, but no, forced out by the vertical. QuQ finds the pick. Minute 20 left on the clock, and, well, QuQ, they're a bit worse off for wear, but they do have the time on their side.
That they do. And it's always been fair the one on the opening move, but in the meanwhile, as of current, but it still stands 4-4. Deimos has been religiously hated by both of these teams and players specifically. The first one to be taken out, Larry the returned, and now we currently return to the past as Russ is making the first approach to take out and regain this lead. Pivoting no offense, they found the 4-3 looking to advance off of it. Two players quite low and almost dropping blood, bleeding out as of current, and QuQ, the only one that's going to be quite comfortable on it, is going to be that bandit. From below comes out the Valkyrie, not expected, but no offense have gained a lot of control over this verticality, trying to get themselves the pan flipped. When push comes to shove, both of these teams have proven that they can outright be absolutely catastrophical, at the same time destructive. But Zero, he destroys one, two remain, and now it's all left down to how you can play against it. No offense have always been quite strict when it comes down to execution. They get the job, they get it prepared, and they work off of it. While in the meanwhile, QuQ and the rotations have been the long way about it, and definitely this time around it was more than anticipated. The last one standing, Gold burns you alive with your own canister nonetheless. And in the end, it's all left down to no offense as they win it out yet again, even towards the attack, trying to climb up to that match point as fast as they possibly can.
That's really unfortunate. That is cooking yourself out of that round with the fire. Perhaps need to turn the heat down a little bit. I mean, towards the end of that round there, I liked the idea from Jake. You go upstairs, you attempt to make the flank. Unfortunately, the watch was there. Someone on no offense. They were aware. They knew it was coming. They shut it down before anything could get started. It was a great attempt, and I think it was really their only way back in towards that round, trying to get themselves out of the jam that they found themselves in. But regardless, they lose the round, and now, no offense, they're 2 away from taking the series, and perhaps where QuQ looked really, really good starting things off here, starting all the way back on Cafe. They look great, they look phenomenal. As the series has gone on, no offense, at least in my mind, have certainly been punishing the mistakes and proving themselves to be the better team in the last 2 maps at this point.
10 seconds to insertion.
5-2. It's a terrifying score that QuQ have to look at. I mean, they're probably just fearing in the side of the 6-2 coming about, and this is going to be an important round we need to see. Each single round from this point on will be extremely important, because if QuQ lose one, they're forced to bring it overtime. There is no other chance of them winning out unless they go 5 rounds in a row, which is a task that not many can handle, nor many comprehend at the starting point. And soon it's going to be endgame if you lose out a single one large mistake, and it's all going to be over. Aggression like this is punished, and QuQ already on the receiving end. They're going to be faltering, falling to their knees. The Deimos doesn't even need to track the Vigil, nor is there going to be any counterplay, but there's an explosive mindset right now, and no offense is working off of it, as their Deimos is to be taken out, trying to finish out on it. The SMG-12 doesn't find the bullets. Finally, though, Kai approaches just a bit closer to put some extra salt on the wound and returns it, which is going to be a great trade. Yet again, the counter to the counter. The Deimos for the Vigil, neck for neck, and no offense right now. I'm saying that this is a lot they have online, and they're certainly putting up an effort to make it as quick as it possibly can be.
100%. I mean, QuQ, you do have to slightly question trying the exact same thing they tried in the round before. That Vigil playing really aggressively on towards Kitchen. No offense, trying a very similar strategy to how it worked in the previous round. However, with that intel, with that additional sort of hindsight in mind, it seemed like, no offense, they're slightly better off the wear for it. Kai is down, is recoverable, is still got halfway on that timer. Just as I say that, Gold moves in, confirms the kill. Now, man advantage, never mind. Schnitzy trades it back, and if I can finish a sentence here without it being flipped around, QuQ, they've currently got themselves a bit of an advantage here. Russ does go down yet again. I'm going to cast the curse it. May or may not be recoverable, as the clock's going to start ticking away here. Minute 10 now left on towards the round. Zero, Russ and QuQ, how can they make this one happen? They've got a minute left on the round, still plenty of time to sort of make things work. Buck as well to make things work on the vertical as well. You just got to start to wonder, what are the defense going to be able to do? No C4s left in pocket on the side of QuQ, so in terms of post-plant utility, denying it coming down in the first place, they're going to be extremely limited. but they have that asset in pocket. They have the sixth defender. That is, of course, that time available to them in this round. Well, it could play out any way, really. But in the meantime, no offense, they're going to lose a player. They're really looking locked out of this round now. 3 versus 2, advantage strongly in the hands of QuQ, and they can't let this one slip out of the pan just yet. They have to hold on. They have to make sure that they don't slip up, they don't give any opening, because if time has proven anything, it's that there is a way into this round. No offense are going to find it, and they're going to take full advantage of it. 20 seconds now on the clock. They need to get this one done. They need to find a way to get this over the line. QuQ, no choice here, but move in towards the objective. Does find one, and maybe that's the opening that is needed in towards this round. The 15-second call is made, but no, it's Larry with one, not with the second. 0, no choice but to get close. Going to try and instead stick the defuse down. Schnitzy going to be swinging it, going to be spraying in towards the smoke, but misses the shots, and the kick goes down. 1 versus 1, pistol in hand, but Schnitzy is good for it. The clutch to triple for the round, and QuQ, they keep themselves fighting on labs just a little bit longer.
Too close for comfort. The best way to describe it, as no offense could have had it. The match point. It was their line of sight, but they just couldn't shoot it through. Even though that defuse was mighty fine, the bullets in that primary definitely didn't stick through, so switching through the secondary, it was definitely a rotation needed, but all of a sudden, you can't connect all. And well, like it, you lose out on one contingency plan. Plan A gone, B and C still sticking, and those are going to be the few rounds that you have remaining before it's equalized. That's where the danger zone really starts kicking in. And well, no offense, had themselves a beautiful start with the demos, but trying to jump in and finish the job onto the vigil ended up being the gravest mistake you have done, and it has set you on a budget even into the continuing round, especially when it came down to that 2v3 situation. It may not be the worst, but 3 heads are better than 2, and 3 players are certainly a lot better to work with than the 2 that QuQ in the end had to work up against. It was a tough fight, they lost it, it was too close for comfort, but they got that 3rd round just barely by the skin of their teeth, hanging on for dear life. And it is heartbreaking to see how both of these teams have so much potential, but right now, QuQ could have just racked up a round or 2 in the first half. It would have been right now 4-4, and that is a huge difference.
That is a huge difference. I mean, look back to that 1 versus 3, all the way back in round number 1. If that round had gone the other way, there'd be a very different talking point right now. But 5 versus 3 is where we find ourselves. No offense, they find themselves 2 away from winning the series. QuQ, they need 2 just to tie it up. So, a little bit of work for them to do. They're going to be heading towards the top floor side. First time on their defensive half. Previously, it was played twice by the defense, once twice by it as well. So, really, this, at least for the time being, the ball is in the basket of QuQ. But they're going to have to keep it there for the next 2 minutes if they're going to want to be getting this round done and dusted. As Fur looking to get a little bit aggressive, looking to see if they can find a player early on. Has to deal with one from outside the window, as well as the ones coming in from connector. Does have that C4 to make some magic happen. He's going to pull it out for a second, bait the sound. But forced out of position by the Grim Beehives. No choice but to fall back. Frag grenade as well, going to force the player away from the pillar, allowing the exothermic to go on the wall and very likely go off without a hitch.
Waiting for first contact between these 2 teams. All are searching. No Doc Stims for the Grim to work himself off of. In the meanwhile, these Bees may be working quite nicely to try and deny any close pushes. You're still working off of head holes. IT, your Monty being damaged, and Zero being taken out. That's first blood dropped, and this is going to be initiating that chain of events as it all goes up against no offense. QuQ are right now cooking, and they're biting. They're right now burning deep. Cresco finally returns, but it's been a bit too late, I'd say. No offense have already found themselves a bit too deep, and they're diving in further as QuQ are the ones to drown them out. Some great shots, but it's unfortunately onto the Doc, who can revive himself. A pistol there from Daft, but you only are the only one left standing. In a 1v3 situation, it's a hard bargain to go off of, but for now, is a Monty. There's not much succession rate you can really work with, especially 30 seconds. That's all you're really given. And no offense, again, going to be losing out on another opportunity to finish it out, or at least get to match point and secure themselves in overtime, if nothing else. QuQ, in the meanwhile, though, they're taking it away. They're definitely having no attempt at being too greedy, no sinful plays, and as of still, Monty trying to find any catalyst. No success. You're working against crossfires, and this is about as far as it gets into it.
Yeah. QuQ closing it out. They found the right temperature now. Found that perfect happy medium between aggression and pacing. I mean, I've got to ask you, have you ever been inside a server room before? Have you ever found yourself in a server room?
Yeah.
They're warm. They're pretty warm, right? You've been in
Yeah.
there before. They can be pretty toasty. Perhaps the kitchens of Chalet are a little bit too hot for the side of QuQ. Server, so perhaps the servers are the perfect temperature. They found it, they found their mark, and they found it up to a point where the first tactical timeout of the entire series is going to be used. No offense, calling it, wondering, right, what is going wrong here? We need to get ourselves up on this map series point, because if we don't do it in the next round, it's 5-5, and really, if it hits 5-5, not only is momentum strongly in the favour of QuQ, they're also arguably on the more favoured side. It starts to then flip around, and suddenly it's no offense, they're going to have to put in 110 if they want to take this one.
If they want to do it. In the meanwhile, while the timeout is happening, we do have a player leaving, which we're going to have to see how we follow up with it. Just a bit of a pause now. But a 5-4. No offense, these are your chances. You have to start taking them. Earlier on the side of Chalet, you're the first ones to reach match point, and that's how you took it 7-3 or 7-4, whatever it may have been. In the end, you have to work off of it. Please, you've won 5 rounds. Get the final 2. Just push through while in the meanwhile, QuQ for yourselves. You're on a great run. Keep it up. Keep it the tempo. Right now, you're not exhausted. You're feeling yourself. It's still going forward, and there's definitely moves being made. Dominant ones at that, because these openers, the ways you have been can opening both of these rounds, the ones that we've just seen you win, have been absolutely phenomenal work. In the end, the opening, first 2 kills. Yes, some good return, and it's a bit of a sour taste in your mouth, but it doesn't get left to an aftertaste. You sweeten it up, and all of a sudden, it's around, back to back. Now, can we get the 3rd time's the charm, or is that where we're going to be having some luck transfer over to no offense? Well, gonna have to see, but as of current, we are having a bit of a rehost, and this has definitely been north and south, on and off, constantly between the two.
This is one of those matches, I think, where really it's anyone's game. You can't really look at this and go, there's been a clear winner so far. QuQ, especially in the last couple of rounds, really starting to impress yet again, show why we've been able to get to this 3rd map point where now they find themselves on the 3rd map. Sure, they are being quite a few rounds down, but they're slowly making their way back into it. They've got 3 remaining rounds in regulation. If they win all 3 of them, they win the series outright. If they win 2 of them, they've guaranteed themselves overtime. That's what they need. They need to win 2 of the next 3. For no offense, well, it's you only need to get 2 of them. 1 of them guarantees you overtime. It's a more favourable position to be in, but as you say, back and forth the entire time, and really it's been anyone's game.
It surely has been. But as of current, I believe we are going to be throwing it to a short break just to see where we land, and we'll be back with you as soon as all issues are resolved.
Attackers activating diffuser.
It took us a bit of a second to get back, and we do apologize for the inconvenience, but what matters is the present, not the past. And let's take a look at what the score we're currently looking at is. It's 5-4, right, Travi? And that's not the best of signs, for no offense, as they've had some chances, and this might be the final one to keep some sort of gap between their scores and QuQ's.
Exactly that. I mean, you pause 3 rounds ago, and at one point in time, no offense, were 5-2 up. It was looking like they had Nighthaven Labs in the bag. They had this series ready to take it across the line. And since the half swap, QuQ have come to light a little bit. 2 rounds in a row, get themselves up to 5-4, and where things were looking a little bit bleak, a little bit bad beforehand, they've certainly worked their way back in towards this series, back in towards this map. And now we find ourselves at this 5-4 point where we get ourselves onto 5-5, or no offense, get ourselves the first series point here in this first game of our second week. So either way, it's going to be spicy, however this one plays out.
Can't believe it. You're still pulling out puns. Frammy is just unbeatable, ladies and gentlemen, but still, hopefully it doesn't backfire towards no offense right now. In the meanwhile, though, it is going to be QuQ right at your doorstep, 1 round away, and all of a sudden, we have a bit more of operators coming in that we haven't seen the most of. The mirror is going to be interesting to see. Well, the definitely. Now, as for Casco, he's the one to open us up. We are definitely going to be having a bit more troubles to keep himself alive. And for now, well, no offense, they're off to a good lead.
Yeah, the Bandit's going to be the first one to fall as Larry falls as well, but Kai gets one back in the way. It's 4 versus 3 now, no offense, they've still got that advantage. That is a little bit less perhaps than it was before, but they've got key thing for QuQ is they've got a player below with a C4 in pocket, Schnitzy as well, upstairs on the objective, C4 in hand as well. But they're going to need to be able to use it well. They've got 2 players with C4s in pocket. They're going to need to find a way to get the advantage on this one. No offense, they're in a really, really great position here. They're coming off the rehost, firing on all cylinders. They're ready to take this round. I mean, look at this, minute on the clock now. Attack in a great position. They're opening up the vertical, but they still need to work their way down, and it's something risky from Jake. It's a run out, finds found out by 0. Now it's all down to Schnitzy. Does have a C4 in pocket, so may be able to make that work, but he's going to have to make the Vector work first. Isn't going to be able to do so. Kesko finds it, and no offense. Well, they come out of the rehost, firing on all cylinders. They get themselves an extremely dominant round, and 6-4 QuQ. It's the next 2 rounds, or it's nothing.
Or it's nothing, like you said it. Now they're fighting for mistakes. QuQ, I don't know why they want to take these chances. Run out, spawn peek, whatever you want to call it. In the end, these are mistakes you should not be making. In the final few situations, you're being a bit too predictable. No offense for reading you like a book, a comic strip, whatever you want to call it. They're right now reading you and just turning page after page after page. Match point is here, Travi. It's 6-4. This is going to be a bit more of a trouble, a hassle for QuQ to work up against. But right now we're on this bottom floor, the Rock and the Bandicade. Surprisingly, no Tubarao. But as of currently, we are going to have to see how it works out. The demos, again, I'm going to love the verticality. Hopefully Larry this time around won't be trying to get that window run out, or maybe just some free shots, and in the end end up to fall himself. And we head over towards away from the prep phase and into the action itself.
Into the action we're going to go, and operator lineup wise on both sides is looking very, very, very similar to what we've seen the 2 times this site has been played so far in this half. And in regards to this half, it's 50-50, the first of which going to no offense, second time it was played going the way of QuQ. So as we head towards this third time this site's going to be played, this is going to be the decisive one that matters more than anything else. As we say, one slip up from QuQ, one little mistake, and unfortunately they're going to be shut down. They're going to be locked out of this one, and no offense will take it. So they all have to be played to perfection. You cannot afford silly little mistakes here. Early engagement, both Gold and Jake going to be taking a little bit of damage, worse off for where Vigil is going to be marked out by the drones. So they're going to have the rough idea of where he is. But Harry continuing to move around the map, continuing to be a nuisance in the side of the attack. And here comes the first to Kaid. That's going to be Fur. Is going to be targeted by the Deimos. He's going to survive long enough to make some use of the utility this time. And you can hear there, this 44 Vendetta. It screams out across the map. But for the time being, it's not able to find its mark. It's not able to find anything. But Jake, well, in an absolute world of pain, retreats down towards Cargo. Not really got too many options, and it's an opening pick. That Kaid, that was marked. Calls were not made because Fur finds the opening pick of the round on towards Russ. 0 falls as well, and suddenly QuQ, they're in the firing seat. They're on all cylinders. They're driving to get this round over the line, as it's just Code after Gold left standing, dancing with death a little bit with a Deimos here, but There comes the support from the teammate, and Gold stuck outside a cafeteria. What can you get going? A really difficult position to work yourself back from here, and you're not going to be able to do so. Fur shuts it out, and it's a flawless round for Kurt, and is overtime potentially on the table.
That all comes down to round number 12 here, as of course a complimentary flawless, while in the meanwhile showing that there is still left strength to spare. QuQ has definitely been holding back, maybe not, but they're definitely pulling no more punches. They're going all out, as this is the final time to do so. You're 6-5, you lose this out, it's all going to be for nothing. Taken out, robbed, you could call it. Or we go overtime. Bo's max OT, as of course, that's what we wish to see. 6-5, round 12. It's all down to it. We're going to be seeing top floor earlier. This is where QuQ lost a 1v3. And is that going to be the one to cost them? Is that going to be really coming back to bite them in the back? Or no offense here, going to be losing it out on attack. Now I'm looking at this lineup from QuQ. I'm not liking it too much. We have a Cade, yes. What about the Tuberal? What about a Bandit? Mute? Anything of the sorts? I love the Warden and the Vigil because they have strong guns and they definitely can work with them. But utility-wise, it seems like no offense are they on the upper hand.
Plenty of utility towards the side of no offense. Really straying away from really bringing that Thatcher on the board. They don't want to be dealing with that. I mean, when you have, obviously, I know there's been a bit of a rehost, so the Tuberal is banned out. You're going to be unable to be brought in this round, or any round for that matter of fact, here on Nighthaven Labs. But when you don't have him, it's normally the Bandit that we see, but Kai's going to be the substitute brought along instead. QuQ placing their bets elsewhere. Kai over on the Vigil with the Boss G this time around. It's a weapon that's seen a little bit of a nerf in this last season, but it can still come alive when it's needed most. But with that Vigil play and that Boss G, it excels at getting your ones. 1 versus 1, that Boss G is an extremely powerful weapon. Anything more than that, you're going up against. You've only got 2 shots, so you're going to really have to make them count. Line up a collateral, you know, do it old Call of Duty style, line them up, shoot 2 at once. Very unlikely in a game of Siege. So with that Boss G, you're going to want to be trying to take those ones, and for Kai, the win condition really in this round, and the goal of playing it in this round is normally to be playing a bit of a lurk further away from the objective. Instead, he's going to be playing closer towards IT for the time being. Instead, leaving the roam up to Larry, who's all the way over towards CC. We're not too far away from objective, towards top of blue stairs, but minute 50 on the clock now. No offense. Not giving away, never mind. The Boss G comes alive, shuts down Kesko, and QuQ, well, they want this one to go into overtime.
They do. It's their only chance at winning it out, and that's going to be a great way to start off your track. In the meanwhile, the Monty going to have to sit idly by in the corner, being a bit of a standing duck. The position not the greatest, the mirror being pocked, and in the meanwhile, the Vigil coming up close and personal as he himself low on HP. Last few counts, all of a sudden the attackers find themselves troubled, but the Finkaboo's there for extra support. Zero finds some sort of retaliation. Late trade comes out. It's 4-4 for both these teams. 1 minute ticking us down. Final few 60 seconds are about to be just around any second, and now all 4 players from each team are going to be deciding if we go overtime or if we keep this simple, strategical, and within regulation. The breach finally out. This is going to be the deciding factor when it comes down to Okuad off on the rotation. The Thermite there peeking. He's not looking to peek alone, but head checking is quite dangerous. Coming up close, we see the shotgun initiate on the Warden yet again, but no one there to support the Thermite. This might be a huge deal for no offense, but QuQ aren't taking it. Again, they're holding close quarters as they should. Not much progress for no defense, and this is the most one-dimensional push that's ever been seen in this entire match. 30 seconds, half a minute. We need to make a push. The attackers, you're playing against time. Monty going for a last-second back push, trying to push anyone off of this back line. Solarium, he needs control over it. Some extra utility coming out. Smoke's there to be denied. The Warden's still unlocked, so we need to be wary about it. While some extra progress, that's the first down. It's returned some extra damage, but a double kill for the side of QuQ. And now all of a sudden 3 players left there to fight against it. You're playing up close, you're missing shots. The diffuser's there, you needed to plant it. Don't reload, he's behind the reinforced wall. The final 2 there, the C4 and the bullets just to connect. And QuQ bring us all the way into overtime as we're going 6-6.
The first overtime of Season 10 is a bonus. This is a match of first tier for Season 10. Our first free mapper, and what a way to close it out than our first overtime as well. QuQ making a monumental comeback from 5-2 down all the way to 6-6. It's been a real great effort from them, but they're going to need a little bit more if they want to take this series over the line. Of course, it's a matter of objectives. Defense has been by far the favoured objective. 4-2 halves, both halves obviously favouring the defensive side, and it's going to be QuQ who get 2 shots at overtime, two shots at defense here in overtime. They've cooked this all the way. They've got this dish out of the oven. All they need to do is put the finishing touches on this one. Put the finishing touches on these series, these final few rounds here, because everything we've seen in the last few hours, it matters naught. What matters now is these next 3 rounds, these next 15 minutes or so. That's going to separate our victor from our loser tonight.
That's going to be the separating factor, and there has been such a rivalry between these two teams. They have always and constantly been eye to eye, toe to toe, neck to neck, head for head. They have been trading it out. The first map 7-4, the second one 7-3. They have taken an exchange map, a trade between them, and it's all left down to Nighthaven. Supposedly supposed to be No Offense's haven, save haven, but it was not a saving grace, as these final few rounds were what QuQ managed to give us, offer, and get these 2 final rounds to just by the bare skin of their teeth, bring us over and have ourselves into overtime. The first time we're going this far in ESA Season X, and it is a pleasure being here, but now we have to have some extra results here, as this is again a race for the first one to capture these 2 rounds here, Travi.
This is going to be so important for these 2 teams. Of course, if you win this matchup, you find yourselves in the 1-0 bracket up. You're 2 matches away, 4 maps from winning yourself a spot in the playoffs. But for No Offense in this round, it's 4 players left standing. Exothermic is going to be successful. IT Wall is wide open. But at what cost? The cost of the buck, the cost of Kesco, and a lot of health as well for us goes down. QuQ, they've not lost anything yet. They've lost the wall. That's about it so far in this round. They've had everything. As we're almost halfway through the round now. No Offense. They're going to have to try and do this execute again, but they're going to have to try and work with what they've got. You can see there, Kodaf getting close towards the objective. Wants to try and make some magic happen here. But Jake, prone in the corner with a C4, is going to get marked out. He's likely going to get spotted, and you may see below, Russ is going to deploy the last of the AS charges. No. Not going to do so. Not going to make the vertical play just yet. And minute 15, it's stalling out a little bit. The attacker assessing how they want to play the remainder of this one. Still got plenty of time to try and make something work, but you're going to have to work your way out of this man disadvantage, this health disadvantage. 2 players now with 0, taking a hell of a lot of damage. Both 0 and Russ find themselves low HP, 55 seconds. QuQ are looking really good to take this one.
QuQ here, seeming like they may be dead to rights for these few final rounds. We're going to be heading over towards the attack, where they have had a decent bunch of success, but now they need to push through just one final one. Goal taking heavy damage. All 3 players besides the Monty having no shield to protect them, as Jake takes his bullets, he takes his shots, and he lands. The diffuser there alone, completely stranded by, while the Ash is trying to make a rotation. 0 does find 1, but you're completely overwhelmed. Numbers are going to be over you. The shield there to stop. The SMG-12 to deny. You run back, but the shotgun makes a close confrontation. The final one with such low HP, the Ash constantly cannot do anything as long shots are out. The boomstick on the kill feed, and there it is. QuQ now with a second shot. They have not only dethroned, but they've overtaken this match point from No Offense, as now it is their time to shine. And can they take it for the final one, or will No Offense be keeping up this fight as much as they have?
The ultimate comeback, I mean, it's been made, and I think the other argument is the momentum is now firmly in the hands of QuQ. They're on a little bit of a cinnamon roll here. 3 rounds in the running, 3 rounds in a row. 1 of them being flawless, 2 of them being wins on this top floor objective. They're going to have to pull it out elsewhere. Odds are they're going to head down towards the basement. They've played it 2 times so far. Oh no, I forgot it's overtime. We're flipping sides. Either way, No Offense, they're going to be heading towards the top floor, which in their half, they were able to win it 2 for 2 times. So far, this top floor objective, it has been impenetrable for the attacking forces. Closest round number 1. That ill-fated 1 versus 3 that we're bringing up time and time again, that I'm sure QuQ really want to forget about. What wouldn't it be just a way for them to settle that down, settle that talk away by being the only attacking team to take this top floor site in the entirety of this map.
That would be certainly a path to go about. So many possibilities, chances, infinite. But just a couple that are correct here. It's brought down to a very limited amount of choices that No Offense has to offer. They're bringing out the Bandit yet again, but not much support on him. A bit more utility heavy this time around with not only deployable shields, 2 of them for a matter of fact, but Muyud's, Goyo's, Frosts, and Warden there for late game denial. It's all coming down to Thatcher EPs, which QuQ are definitely going to be taking into account. They don't want to take it up to chance. They want to have this move out as fast as possible. While the one is denied, the Selmas there just come out, the Flores pushes out, and that's the Bandit find himself quite uncomfortable. Backed off onto YT, huge ground. But where do we find the confrontation next? QuQ, maybe Connector, maybe onto Electrical. We need extra ground. IT alone is simply not it.
Exactly. IT, they're going to need a little bit more. That has been the failing point of the last 2 attacks onto this top floor objective for the side of No Offense. When the No Offense have played it, they've struggled to really get ground and find openings. It's been one-dimensional. It's been very restricted takes. QuQ, they're looking a little bit more spread out. They're going to be trying something a little bit different. There's a player on either side with very, very low HP. One bullet will be all it will take to take either one out of the lobby. And we're at the halfway point in this round now, and there's nothing really separating these two at the minute at least. Really great though, finally bringing that Thatcher on board. Gets IT Ball open early enough where QuQ now have the opportunity to make that relocation. They're learning from past mistakes, and they're going to be spreading things out a little bit more. But it's all about, and something that QuQ have struggled with so much in this entire series, they get themselves in such a good winnable position and they struggle in the final hurdle of getting it over the line. They find themselves 6-7 up. They need one more round and they've got this series in the bag. They've taken it away from No Offense when it was looking so good for them. But 5 versus 5, 45 seconds. What can get going? Gold forced to retreat away from the objective in towards Electrical, looking to play it close with a shotgun. QuQ assessing how they want to play these final few seconds of the round. It's been Larry to open us off, but open up things. Pick on towards 0 as QuQ stalled out temporarily by the Vulcan canisters. That's really going to whittle down their time. They're going to be limited how they can play the dying seconds of this round. Larry almost caught out there by Russ, but not going to be found just yet. But on the site, QuQ are just falling apart. Schnitzy finds one, but I've got a feeling that's going to be all. Sees the player, gets one, but with 4 seconds, 2 guns of No Offense. They want maximum overtime, and they're going to find it. No Offense tie things up 7-7, but they now have to win an attack on Nighthaven Labs, something that has been so difficult for both of these teams.
0 to 100. 0 to 100. We had no kills dropping to absolute carnage. Blood was splattered on the walls and painting the picture red. Like announced by Nanos himself, it is Bo's Max OT. We have reached the big 15, and now this is going to be the final round to prove your worth and make sure you leave not here empty-handed, but full of riches and gold. The final round. Downstairs is where we want to stick to, and QuQ have found themselves the comfort zone. This round on the attack was definitely a catastrophe. At times, it was so much questionable decisions as to why both of these teams are so allergic to Connector and Electrical. They always push and thrive towards this side of Rafters, even extending off of it with an exothermic to try and get yourself a nice rotation, while the Goyos are specifically placed there, and you don't take into account that you can maybe just go for a bit of a loop around. Find Electrical, a rotation's already made, you get extra ground, the breach from IT is made, and that is so many angles you can work off of, but for now, it matters not. We leave that all in the past, and the final few moments stand right before us.
Everything led up to this point. It does not matter. The next 2 minutes and 45 seconds are going to be the deciding factor, and gold will not be a factor in how this round plays out. Opening pick going the way of QuQ. An opener that was much required by the side of QuQ. No Offense. They're going to have to recover that one. they're going to have to find a way to bounce back into something. You've lost Diana, who, while she does bring those Gemini replicators, it's nothing I'd say crucial to this round. It's nothing that No Offense can't live without. You know, of all operators on their side, realistically, it's probably the one that if you're going to lose one, it's probably one of the ones that you say, right, I'm happy to lose this. I don't want to play this operator. Don't need her anymore. But QuQ, they're able to get it, and most importantly, it's not traded back. 5 versus 4, they have the man advantage, and they've got to just make sure they can keep it in their hands. Yet again, a struggling point for both these teams, but if there's a time to finally be able to keep a man advantage in your hands, it's maximum overtime on the final map of the series. No Offense, how can they get themselves back into this round? Getting closer towards the site, but QuQ, they're not giving away anything. They're playing it cautiously. They've got the one that they need. All 5 players down in towards the basement, back towards the objective. They're not risking it. They're just going to wait for No Offense. They've got the clock on their side. They've got the man count on their side. They've got the favourable side on their side. It's an uphill battle here for No Offense, but if they've proven one thing this entire series, they can do it, and Russ is going to kick it off.
He does. The C4 follows. It's a big boom. And QuQ, while they may lose one, they come back stronger. They're like a Hydra regrowing heads. But Russ has found himself a sideway into side itself. He's on pillar, one of the greatest positions as an attacker. The plant going down, and the post plant here initiated towards the defenders who are locked outside of their own building. The C4, they're denying it. The final few seconds coming down, and just a second more, and it would have actually been stuck through, but no success. No Offense have to go for a second attempt. The Cade still has it. No Chuck. It's a crossfire behind the 2 final players. Russ trades it out. It's a trade between the Schnitzy and he himself. As in a 2v1 situation, you find yourself so struggled. You find yourself so contested. Final 2, low HP. 1 bullet for both would be the delivering blow. They find themselves to be rotation, and this is where the Buck needs to be quick on the move. If he does not deny it, it's going to be catastrophe. And this is where the ultimate prize is gained. The ultimate profit. You don't get the angle, or maybe you do. Yes, you do. And Zero finishes it out. The final round, we went the full way. In a 1v2 scenario, he manages to just escape all the way to top floor, right above the diffuser, get a perfect angle that no one can contest, and in all pressure, with everything against him, No Offense managed to come out victorious and win it out in possibly what could have been one of the closest matches we will see or have seen in ESA up until now.
That match is one for the history books. I mean, QuQ, credit to them. They played so well the entirety of that matchup, and they brought it back all the way, and I can't help but feel for them. You do such a monumental comeback all the way into overtime. You get yourself match and series points, and then you go and lose the defense. Fine, expect, but then you have to go and lose the attack. That's really unfortunate for them, but you've got to give the credit to No Offense. They kept their composure, and when the pressure was dialed up to 11, well, they found it. They found what mattered most. They got themselves to win, and they will be going into next week in the advantage with the upper bracket.
And that's it. That was one of the most exciting and close matches. In the end, I even started feeling that loss of voice as we were just screaming it out, but we had to sustain like both of these teams. And QuQ in the end, they were burnt. They were burnt to a crisp. It was overcooked, and well, none other than No Offense taking it away in quite a long format. We were expecting this to be already over on Chalet if I were to put my bets on it before going into the match, but the longer we went through it, the more and more it became so confusing as where the next step these teams were going to take is, and that's what made this match so fascinating.
Indeed it is, but speaking of next steps, let's take a look at the next steps for this tournament here. How is the rest of Season X starting to shape up? As you can see, we already had 8 teams settled through for their matches that will be coming up next week, but QuQ will be the first ones to go in towards the lower bracket with No Offense. They will be upstairs in the 1-0 bracket. They'll be finding themselves quite comfortable. Of course, 3 wins required to qualify through, 3 losses. All 3 lifelines are burnt, and you will unfortunately be eliminated. So 8 teams will be going forwards, 8 teams will be going away. And well, we've got more games coming your way this week. We've got another one coming your way tomorrow as well.
Mm-hmm.
Be spicy.
That it will. Oh.
There we go. That's all right. So, sorry, folks, we just had a little mishap with the brackets there. There you go. That is the correct bracket showing No Offense did indeed win that matchup. Doubt myself for a little bit for a second there. They'll find themselves in the left side of the upper bracket. The QuQ will be down in towards the bottom. But bracket aside, let's take a look at the matchup we got coming your way tomorrow.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Zach Gaming and Devil Esports. Not a single team that I recognize, but still looks interesting. And same times as per usual, 1930 CET. Be on the lookout for it. You saw how close the match was today. You saw how fantastic both of these teams managed to put not only their efforts, work, and mind, but also mechanical abilities out there to make it an absolute blast. And I'm expecting Zach Gaming, Devil Esports, although they may not be able to go the full Bose Max OT, we can still expect a fun time. And well, I think it would be missing out if you weren't there.
Yeah, missing out you would be. I mean, this is where the bracket really gets exciting for me personally. As we go through these matches, we're getting the teams that are seeded closer and closer to each other. It was one of the things I said first thing and foremost. We're starting to see the second half of teams that are now seeded close to each other. The matches should be closer. The first match of this second week has not disappointed in the slightest. All 3 maps required. Bose Max OT required on one of them. And hopefully tomorrow it's going to be a very, very similar story. Going to have all 3 maps coming out here. But on that note, I think we got to get ready for tomorrow.
We do. That's the saddest part. We have to bring this to an end today here, ladies and gentlemen. It has been a pleasure to see both of these teams go at it. Another fantastic day over at ESA and another fantastic one tomorrow you should be expecting with some more fantastic voices to bring out a bit of variety. But up until then, this has been me, Puffo Bob, joined by the beautiful Travi. Thank you so much for hopping along to help. In the background, we had Nanos and Ogon helping, which were an absolute fest. I mean, the job they do to make your experience and our experience as casters as peak as it can be, absolute chef's kiss to give it to them. But as for now, we will be signing off. Thank you, everyone, for coming about, even the players for trying their best to get the victory. May you have gotten it or not. But for now, we will end it off, and you have a great rest of your day.